time for all Salon people and them party them. Sarah Gem Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports, and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy, and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the president's hour, and the Gladi program. Look me, I look you. All this they start soon. Now www.sarahgemmedia.org. Now who's tem these?
Barbershop is where most people talk about things, about life.
You're more likely to speak about topics that are difficult a lot more freely.
Besides making friends, you start talking and then you just find out that, oh, what? I'm not alone.
The way I see it is our barber is like our therapy session where we talk about our problem and he helps us and we feel better at the end.
When you're talking about a subject like cancer, it's not an embarrassment, it's not a taboo subject.
People hear that somebody had been suffering from cancer only when the person has died, so they don't know that they are survivors. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2011, had the operation in 2012, and I'm living well since then. Symptoms that I had that worried me, and I decided I have to be checked out was first, I was having the feeling to pass urine very often, especially at night, and it was painful. Fortunately, since it was detected early, it was found out that it was localized, meaning that it was only in the prostate and has not spread. It is most likely for black men 45 years of age and above to have prostate cancer. There are some people who don't have these symptoms but yet could have prostate cancer. So the key to my success was the early detection.
Prostate cancer, particularly in black men, it's a big issue. If you are scared or embarrassed to check your body out, don't be embarrassed. It's your body, it's your life. You own it. You need to make sure you do what's best for you.
For me, when my dad gets checked out for prostate cancer, it really does give me peace of mind. Just as women have to undergo screening for, like for example, mammograms or cervical cancer, that we take our part to take care of our bodies, just kind of encouraging that men should also take their part and take care of their bodies too.
Anne-Marie said to me, Dad, are you aware there's a profile study? It's a study finding out the incidence of prostate cancer amongst black and Caribbean men. Some people just need the encouragement, maybe a little gentle push to, go out and, look after yourself.
So the reason why I decided to be part of a profile study is my dad passed away from prostate cancer 6 years ago. The way I see it is I help, the black community. I raise awareness about it because I think the more you talk about it, the better it is. When you decided to go ahead with a profile study, it's a very simple process. You have a fun conversation with the staff to understand the goal, the objective, and the time that you give is like maybe 2 hours. When you go there, you do the analysis, and then you get the results and full stop. That's so simple.
In my family, I have a history of cancer, but more importantly, I've got young kids, and I want to obviously see them, grow up, and I also want to be able to make a difference by having myself checked out. Could potentially save my life down the line. So for me, really a no-brainer. Over the last few years, I've been going through various blood tests to check my PSA levels, and thankfully everything is fine. And it's an ongoing situation right now, and I'm very happy and proud to be part of this study.
Be tested and investigated. Early detection is the key.
If If you're a black man over the age of 45, you could consider discussing your risk of prostate cancer with your GP, even if you don't have any symptoms. The profile study carries out prostate cancer screening tests on black men of African or Caribbean descent. It also looks at their genetics to see if this information can help identify those at higher risk. If you are interested, please email or call the profile study team to see if you are able to take part.
You can survive cancer. I have survived cancer.
Hill Valley Academy is a school that provides the very best opportunities for our students to develop, grow, and mature into young adults who are encouraged to become patriots as well as global citizens. We have high expectations and ambitions for all our students. We provide a caring, supportive, tolerant, and challenging environment in which all individuals can grow and flourish. A graduate of Hill Valley Academy is a well-rounded human being capable of making the most of what life has to offer. We actively encourage academic excellence with a sense of responsibility. We look forward to welcoming you to our school and to meeting you in the not too distant future, because together we achieve the extraordinary.
Hello, my name is Josephine Kamara. I'm the founder of You Can Do It Foundation. You Can Do It Foundation is a charitable organization based in Sierra Leone, West Africa. You Can Do It Foundation has been in existence for the past 2 years. We have been fighting gender-based violence against women and girls within the community. During the past 2 years, we have been offering psychosocial support, counseling, court fee, medical fee, including school items to the survivors of gender-based violence. However, during the lockdown of COVID-19, report received and confirmed that rape cases among a minor has increased tremendously within our community. Because of this, You Can Do It Foundation has secured the land to build an accommodation for the survivors of rape. However, this may almost become impossible without your generous support. We need your help to build this home for the survivors. Your help could be in cash or in kind. If you wish to join us to make a difference in a child's life, please go to our website, which is www.youcandoitcyf.org, or you can go to our GoFundMe page, which is Home of Hope for the Survivors of Gender Base, or you can contact us with the details at the end of this video. We thank you greatly for your generous support, and thank you once more for making a difference in a child's life.
I was raped multiple times by my aunt's boyfriend when I was 6.
I was repeatedly raped at the age of 8 by a close family member.
I was raped at 19. I didn't speak openly about it because I was ashamed and afraid that people would judge me.
I was raped at age 5 by my caregiver's husband.
On June 17th, 2020, 5-year-old Khadija Sakon, a beautiful little girl from Freetown, Sierra Leone, was repeatedly raped and strangled to death, allegedly by her own cousin. Her death shocked the nation. But in truth, in this small West African country, 9 out of 10 girls experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. Think about that for a second. 9 out of 10. That's 90%. My name is Aisha Sase. I'm a journalist and activist. I'm joining forces with Idris Elba and other activists from across Sierra Leone to support the survivors of sexual violence with the Survivors Solidarity Fund. Please consider donating whatever you can afford. All monies raised will go to 4 local organizations currently providing free medical and legal services to survivors. 5-year-old Khadija lost her life to sexual violence. That same threat remains for millions of others. So this is also a call for you to use your voice, your power, to draw attention to an enduring culture of rape. Together, we must end it now. My name is Aisha Sase. I am Khadija Sako.
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 We are Khadija Sako.
We are all Khadija Sako.
To my friend, she was the brightest at our level, even though she was as innocent as the heaven. That did not stop Papa Abu at age 57 to ask for her hand in marriage as she turns 11. Her parents, being naive about this rage, tolerated this marriage, and this destroyed the hopes and dreams of Khadijatu to live like it in Seattle. Instead, she's been used as a tool by an old school. Khadijatu is being used as a bait by her own mate. My friend is being emotionally tortured by this old culture. Old child marriage, it's on the rampage like disease, eating up the fabric of our girl child image, and it's our duty to cage. Let's diverge. Please be obliged. It is now we emerge from this ancient custom at large.
If not for this dreadful event, Khadijatu could have become president, but now she has been trapped in an old man's residence, like a mosquito in a tent. She is vulnerable, but with her age, she is still able to become that virtuous woman of substance, like Madam Patricia Kaba, Madam Dr. Kadi Sise, Madam Sianyama Kooma, Madam Dr. Sylvia O'Blyden, Madam Her Excellency Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Oh yes, without child marriage, our girl child can still turn into Madam Hillary Clinton, Madam Theresa May. Be it as it may, Madam Condoleezza Rice. Let's not be hypnotized, but rather stay wise, for this can only be realized if education is being prioritized and child marriage is being criticized. So please, parents, do not relent, as it is apparent that a girl child can become great if only you patiently wait.
When I was a kid growing up in Sierra Leone, my neighbor had a small TV. The television was beaming these images about famine, war, about diseases.
There was a silent majority
suffering. I am fed up with that kind of news. We can use culture and art to change mind and hearts and inspire action.
I was here as a student, and of course, Charlie was my teacher. I've asked him to join me on the journey to create a major new play to offer hope to our people.
We want to uplift our nation, leave legacy for our children. We are talking about national pride. This is big, man. This has great magnitude. Sometimes I feel afraid. I feel terrified when I think of the project.
Tito! What's here, Tito?
We are nowhere near what we want for day.
I want this. I want it. I want it.
I want this thing for succeed, Koji.
This place fail and die.
Is this a curse or what?
People like you that makes it along the way.
You cannot give me blow, but you know this way you cannot give me blow.
Oh man, just did lie, blame.
These are the things that have wrecked this country.
We need to move this nation forward. We're going to need to light a better future. Akikola be second to last project. He died at the last. Rest assured, my brother.
When I was young, a lot of things were different. Unfortunately, most of the differences seen now are heartbreaking and are not good at all.
Before now, men were strong protectors of the weak, fathers, brothers, lovers, sons. Their mere presence guaranteed the safety of women and children.
But what do we do now?
Men harassing and raping women.
Men sexually abuse little girls.
Men battering and killing their wives.
Any form of sexual assault, be it rape, sexual abuse, or pedophilia, is a killer to human self-esteem.
Women should stop dying in silence. Speak now.
The rapist should be stigmatized, not the victim.
I think death sentence should be the consequence of such terrible act.
And you mothers, build confidence in your children, put trust in them, listen to them when they make reports, and take necessary actions.
Talking of mothers before now, women were virtuous.
They were mothers, daughters, and sisters.
Nurturing, counseling, supporting their men folks.
But now, women are trafficking female children for money.
Women are forced to be silent.
All this must stop, and it must stop now. Real men do not abuse, rape, or molest women and children.
It is barbaric, unacceptable.
Let all real men stand with us.
Together, let's say an emphatic no to rape, sexual abuse, pedophilia, and domestic violence.
them for all Salon people and them party them. Sarah Gem Media will be bringing you a variety of programs ranging from documentaries to discussions, interviews, news, views, sports and entertainment. Our programs will contain matters on development, governance, the economy and issues that are of importance to Sierra Leone. So, no left BNO because we get Bebe program then like Salon discussion, meets the ministers, the President's Hour and the Gladi program, Look Me, I Look You. All this they start soon na www.sarahgemmedia.org. Now who's tem these?
Where person buy them products they are waiting and get for do. Where the sun come out, then they go put this product directly under the sun. The sun now they charge the panel. The energy from the sun they store on this panel, where you can now host even term for can turn your light on.
My name is Mariam Kamara. I'm the founder and director of Smiling Through Light.
What that is? All right. Una call waiting. Kabatenke, not so. All man, they look now. Hey, Batenke, who's are you there? Then kind of meet the paramount chief. And the paramount chief say, well, if una want Batenke, we'll get for put small cooler for Batenke. Yes. Aha. So then, we all want clean energy, correct? We all want solar lights. And more importantly, we want solar lights for we picking them for study. We want solar lights. Some of we want solar light just for run ordinary freezer. Are they where they free tongue and know what italic where I not get light for just put food inside me freezer. Because it means every day first I go buy fresh food. If I don't cut the fish before they put a light not there, the fish don't boil. Not so. If it where you smoke the fish, fly down sit down pana na tumbu the common not so. But we Batenke down there, he get a light day. when net come, you put your freezer on with that solar day, definitely it go work. When you picking one for study, it like you know how to put the big lights on, you picking, it go sit down, it go study fine. Because we're picking the study on the light, we're not good in yai. Not so? Right. And we all want to picking a healthy, smiling through light, solar energy. Batenke is about that. It's about health. It's also about wealth. As many other things as Mariam Agefoka explained to her. So, me, not stranger, but today, me I dey talk and say, I dey go inside una belly, make una born me inside Lochar, make una take me as una young picking. Case closed. Now me done so.
This is such an exciting time for us, and we've just launched a program called Shining a Light on Kamakure and Lonsau. So we basically got a grant from, which is a comic relief and DFID grant under the Common Ground initiative, and this particular grant is managed by Afford UK. So Shining a Light on Kamakure and Lonsau, it's all around job creation, income opportunities, getting the products in. So a couple of the activities that we're doing within this project is that we're recruiting 9 staff in Sierra Leone. So we're recruiting 3 staff in Freetown, 3 in Kamakure, 3 in Lonsau. We're opening 3 offices in Freetown, Kamakure and Lonsau. We're doing 2 community awareness events, which we held last week, Thursday and Friday. So we had this whole big road trip, and we're doing the community activities and we're using storytelling. So working with Mr. Yusuf Jallo, the Cow Footprint. So the project is in partnership with the Mambena Cultural and Community Project. And we're using storytelling because even as a company, I don't want people to just get the products. I really want people to understand that I'm using the product and these are the benefits of it. So we're doing a lot of educational work within communities, training them on how the products work, why they should be using the product. You know, we always tell them that light is good for your health, it's good for your education, it's good for your business because of loads of different reasons. So it's a really exciting project.
As a professional storyteller, I am here to kind of like engineer a story within the whole project itself. If you've ever been up country in Sierra Leone here, firefly is very, very common here at night. But not many people have actually noted how the firefly actually gives its light. In the daytime, it's stationary. In fact, it's hidden in the daytime, absorbing the heat from the sun. And then at night, the firefly energizes itself and literally just gives itself fire, light, in order to light its way around. That gives the firefly independence. That gives the firefly the ability to operate when many other living organisms probably aren't operating at all. And just those 2 basic principles are important for our women, whereby through working with Smiling Through Light, selling the solar lights, they're able to generate income for themselves. Through that income, they're able to feed their families, and they're able to kind of get some kind of economic independence. Up country, when you go to school and you have to study at night, you have to use what we call bengbe lamp. Now, if you've been in Sierra Leone, you ever use what we call bengbe lamp, which is like just like an empty milk tin with a twig in it, and then we put kerosene in that, and you study with that kind of firelight. Literally, you get black nostrils, to put it very mildly. But also, it makes the young people ill. Bringing in solar light, like Smiling Through Light is bringing in, will help a lot of young people to study efficiently at night, but also to study and get a better health, while they're studying at night. So for me, using storytelling and using the firefly as a metaphor to illustrate the use of solar energy, I think it's just very, very effective. It is within the cultural context of the people, and they just never will forget what Smiling Through Light is all about.
The problem we're trying to solve is really to make sure people are using clean, sustainable and reliable products. And why is this? Because only 13% of our population have access to electricity. So that means only 13% of the population have access to the grid. And once you don't, people now rely on different lighting options. So for example, people would use kerosene to light up their homes, they would use candles, they would use pan lamp, and these are all really dangerous. The good thing with solar products is that we're in a country where we have unlimited amount of sun. You're getting free light basically. So we want people to really have access to clean energy.
My name na Madam Salematu Kamara. Me na chair lady for the market women Marampa Chiefdom, and the trade where they do na lapa business I deal with. The fuel system, they can short in the lights because you know they get light free as how the light been they run today. And automatically if they count solar system na low sir, I'm not going to tell you na lie. We they very happy because at times we can get breakdown from the machine where they light for we. And when the machine break down, automatically you pick in there, then small lights they will make it and bug, they're not going to see fine. But if we get solar, the cable assist, we pick in there for let read and a net for study. It's not easy for live now, sir. If the job, although job don't begin calm, but I'm not going to tell you say 15% of people they wouldn't allow, sir, they don't get. No, it's not possible yet. Mama, this program where they try for bring calm, we're really happy about that because now woman will get respect for person self. You can't hire now with this project for can help Marampa Chiefdom. I say automatically we're ready for work with you. You get plan for in hometown. It will not go ever let her down. Shine the light, smiling through lights.
I am Yusuf Ujalo, the cow footprints. And the firefly, it came like this. Na pancake, yantenga molua. Gudana yantenga molua baba horimbing. Shining a light, smiling through
Good evening, everyone, and a blessed Sunday to everyone wherever you are. This is Aisata Sise Jallo from the Health Show, and we're here this Sunday evening, the 5th of February, just to say welcome and to commemorate the World Cancer Day, which was yesterday, Saturday, the 4th of February. There's been lots of activities going on across the globe, and let's just make the best out of the weekend and just make some noise. And the theme this year, which is the same as what it was last year, is Close the Care Gap. We want to have a conversation with like-minded people here today to see what is currently happening, what are the important things you should be looking out for, what are the groundbreaking research or other in terms of equipments that are happening? What are some of the successes? What are some of the challenges? And how best you can move on as an individual and whatever you take from here. So we want to thank you all for joining us this evening. And we hope you learn one or two things from here. And if at any time you feel you need to contact us, please just inbox me. I'll check my inbox on Facebook, and somebody's also manning the YouTube. We can reach out to you if you've got a specific question. We could try and answer it as best as possible. And if you want to comment, if you're a healthcare professional or you're expert by experience, that is, you've been a patient yourself and you've gone through a cancer journey, and if you want to contribute, you can make your comment in the comment section. So thank you, and I just want to take this opportunity to thank all my panelists. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. No, it's wind down time for work again on Monday, but I really appreciate you, and that's purely because we all share a common goal, and that is the fight against cancer. So thank you so much. And we are going to start and kick off with our dear lady, Charmaine. I am going to let Charmaine introduce herself and then kick off with what she needs to do. Over to you, Charmaine.
Right. So my name's Charmaine. I am, sorry, I'm just getting my slides out the way now. I'm Charmaine. I am a breast care nurse that works in screening. I've been a Macmillan nurse in the past. And my main role in breast screening is to encourage hard to reach areas like the Black and ethnic and Asian minority groups to come forward for their screening. Because screening, the earlier we get breast cancer, the better it is and better prognosis. And a lot of ladies are reluctant to come. They say it's painful. And I say, well, take a paracetamol before you come. And the earlier we get it, the better. So I'm going to share my slides. I'm going to whiz through them because hopefully, can you see that? I'm just checking that you can see that. Oops. Sorry, I'm going to have to just go back a bit. Asate, can you see that? You're on mute.
Yes, we can.
Fantastic. Okay, I've told you who I am. I am sorry, it's not working. Right. So Breast Cancer Awareness Month is October. And one of my things is that it shouldn't be just October, it should be every month. One of the things I would say, the top tips in breast cancer are knowledge is power, know your family history, which with a lot of Black and ethnic minority groups, nobody knows if anyone had cancer. They used to say, call it the big C. They used to not even mention it, which doesn't help you if you come in with breast cancer and you don't know what your family history is. Be breast aware, know what's normal for you, go to your GP, know your rights about the GP, know that you can be referred to, in the 2-week rule. Some people may not go to their GP and the GP says wait for a month, blah, 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 and it gets longer and longer or they don't go back. Attend breast screening, of course, I'm going to say that. Keep active and avoid being overweight, keep healthy, and definitely try to stop smoking and reduce your alcohol intake or stop. So next. Just some facts. 1 out of 7 women develop breast cancer in their lifetime. As I said, knowledge is power. Do your own research. Google peer-reviewed websites. So you've got Breast Cancer Now, Cancer Research UK, you've got Macmillan, you've got the NHS website, and Copperfield is a website regarding young women, and they text ladies every month to remind them to go and do their check. So one of the things I mentioned is that, look, in our culture, we only hear bad news stories. We do not hear we hear that someone had cancer and then she died. We do not hear the good news that 55,000 plus women get diagnosed in the UK. And, you know, they go through their treatment. It's not easy, but they go through their treatment, come out the other side, and they're still around. But it's not gossip. Listen to webinars, things like this. Listen, get people to listen to, get your friends to listen to it and be informed. Know your family history, we've discussed, I'm going to skip that. Be breast aware, know what's normal for you, look and feel, know the changes to look for, and this is really important. This is definitely part of my role. I've been in churches, I've been in mosques where we advise ladies what to look for. It's not always a lump. Report your changes to your GP. Early detection is key. So things, we talk about lumps, but we want to catch it before then. Nipple discharge, you can have creamy nipple discharge and you can have bloody nipple discharge. You need to go to your GP. Dimpling, breast or nipple pain. There's the old adage that pain does not indicate breast cancer, but if it's been there for a long time, it will indicate breast cancer. Nipple retraction, if you're normally an outie and suddenly it goes in, there's something pulling it in. Redness, changes to the skin, under the armpits. Sometimes ladies develop breast cancer under the armpits, not in the breast, and swelling that's unusual. So when you go to clinic, we examine you, you have some have mammograms, some have ultrasounds, and if we're interested, I call it an area of interest, we then need tissue that needs to go to the lab, and then you'll have a biopsy. Breast screening, that's my bag. So 50 to 71, you get called every 3 years, you have 2 views, they get reviewed, and if there's an area of interest, then we would bring you back to have that assessed with the clinical examination, the ultrasound, the mammogram, and a biopsy. After 71, you can self-refer in. So if you're a fit 70 plus, please refer in for screening. We're happy to see you. This is what a mammogram looks like and a breast being taken. Keeping fit, important. Reduce 20%. If you reduce your weight, you lower your risk of having breast cancer. It improves your mental well-being. Go to gyms for the machines or classes, either or. Do Zumba, do line dancing. Just keep active. Brisk walking, not only on the road, but on parks. And things we're talking about is riding a bike, dancing, hiking, jogging, tai chi, tennis, anything, and any group sports. So exercise with friends and family, and that helps you to support, to keep your activity up, and less people give up that way. So avoid being overweight. 5 fruit and veg, moderate portions, balanced diet, less dairy, alternatives, almond, coconut, oatmeal, eat more fish and pulses. This is nothing new that I'm telling you, but I'm just reinforcing it. Higher fibre, whole wheat, drink plenty of water. That's not just good for breast cancer. That's good for your kidneys. Less fat and sugar and salt. Therefore, less takeaway food. And during a slimming club, for the psychological support, if you can afford it, slimming clubs are expensive, then just go for a walk. Eat healthy. Stop smoking. Reduce alcohol. Avoid being overweight. Reduce alcohol and exercise. 80% of all breast cancers that we find, breast lumps, that we find are nothing to do with cancer. So instead of fearing that you've got a lump and don't go to the doctors, please go to the GP, get referred, and then we can reassure you if it's absolutely nothing. So top tips: knowledge is power, know your family history, be breast aware, go to the GP, attend your screening, keep active, avoid being overweight, eat healthy, stop smoking, reduce your alcohol intake. So that's the end of my lecture.
Thank you so much, Charmaine. That was quite a whistle stop and a quite good one. Just like Charmaine mentioned, this is all about just reminding you. A lot of you who are watching or who would be watching later probably know all of this, but today is a reminder. It's to remind you about the things that you should be looking for, or if you're new to all of this, it's a way to kind of, get you thinking and signpost you in the right direction so that you could go and look for more information on credible websites and web pages. So thank you so much. So that is the screening program, or how screening is done in the UK here. And although Charmaine has just touched on breast cancer, in the UK, we've got 3 national screening programs. And one of them is for breast, and the other is for bowel, and then the other is for, say it and I'll say it again, forgot.
Cervix.
For cervix, thank you. How can I forget cervix? When I've been going through it for so many times. Cervical smear. So those are the 3 national screening programs we have in UK. And I think that's also similar in the USA and most Western world. Although there's over 200 types of cancers, the reason why there's very few screening programs because some of the cancers are very, very rare, and it doesn't affect many people in their lifetime. But when it comes to cancers such as breast, cancers such as bowel cancer, or prostate cancer, or cervical cancer, those are the common cancers in populations wherever. So that is why screening tends to focus on them, or there are tests they can do. For example, with prostate cancer, even though there is no national screening program, however, there are tests they can do as quickly as possible if there is any sign of it. But also after the age of 60, I believe they start checking for your PSA levels. So there's kind of a bit of a informal screening going on there. And Dr. Ahmed Kamara will probably touch on that a little bit more for us. But I would like to move on now to Dr. Augustine Tarawali, just for him to kind of tell us a little bit about if there is any screening in Sierra Leone, and what are his thoughts in terms of around diagnostics and what is available. And over to you, Dr. Tarawali. If you can introduce yourself briefly, and then you can crack on.
Thank you very much. I am Dr. Tarawali, surgeon oncologist, Ministry of Health and Sanitation, presently stationed at the Kenema Government Hospital. But before that, I was at the Connaught Teaching Hospital, Freetown. That said, I will start by saying this. All cancers diagnosed in time are treatable. And the diagnosis of cancer is not a death sentence. With respect to national screening programs, as it is in the UK or in the USA, ours is not like that. But we have organizations like Thinking Pink, Well Woman, and other social organizations that have taken active role and responsibility in sensitizing the populace about self-screening and visiting their centers for screening, especially when it comes to breast cancer and cervical cancer. They've been doing a marvelous job, They go from house to house. They go to marketplaces where women are populated. They visit places where young people are gathered, and they try to educate them about what to look out for, especially when it comes to breast cancer. I've been in Sierra Leone for like a year now, and I've seen quite a few of cancer cases. The highest number that is breast cancers at Connaught, and even here at Kenima Government Hospital. I've been posted here for like a month. I've seen few cases, and they were challenging in the first place, because here diagnostics is a challenge. One, the cost of diagnostics here, most people cannot afford the cost. Two, people in rural areas, they are not even aware. Some of them, cancer is not part of the diseases they are used to know about. And three, even those that come, like they come for screening, they screen them, you get biopsy, samples for biopsy, you tell them to take it to the Connaught lab, because that is the only lab we have now for histopathology in this country. They don't. Some of them can't afford even the transportation from where they are to Freetown, let alone pay for their biopsies. So, in addition to that, even the diagnostic equipment, most times those who can even afford, some of the diagnoses are not done within Sierra Leone. For example, breast cancers, we are supposed to even do molecular biological analysis so that you can know the molecular biological subtype of the cancer. Immunohistochemistry is not done in Sierra Leone at the moment. Some of them I need even PET scans, right? Those are not done in Sierra Leone at the moment. So these are the challenges we are facing, really as is. But there is no national screening program that is being worked. That's like work in progress, because Think in Pink, Well Woman, Ministry of Health and Sanitation, they are all working together to put a national cancer control program, which includes the screening, national screening programs and other factors that we factored into the program. Also, recently, they passed the tobacco bill, all aimed at reducing the risk of cancers. The government also have sent so many young doctors overseas for training in the management of cancers. And they have established the postgraduate college of physicians and surgeons in Sierra Leone for postgraduate medical training in all medical specialties. So as of now, we have doctors in training. We are not quite there yet, but we are on the right path. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. Tyroli. That's quite a good oversight and insight into what's going on in Sierra Leone. And yes, there's a lot of work going on. There's a huge gap when it comes to cancer care in Sierra Leone at the moment. However, I'm also quite heavily involved in with the Ministry of Health and Sanitation in terms of some of the things they're looking at. Recently, there was a memorandum of understanding signed with Roche to bring in more drugs. The ministry is also looking at a national cancer control pathway, which is similar to what we get here from NHS England, as well as National Institute of Clinical Excellence, the NICE. And so it's work in progress. We are also in Sierra Leone, there's also quite a huge drive to reach out to our neighboring country, Ghana, who I think are a bit further ahead than us in terms of cancer care, to get some support in terms of expertise, in terms of training, in terms of development. And yes, for the first time in history, they have created curriculum that has to do with cancer, with the hope that we'll start training nurses in Sierra Leone to better understand the disease, its trajectory, and how to manage people who are on treatment and after treatment. And I think Mrs. Crimeldo Parkinson Pratt will talk to us a bit more about that, because I remember when I first met her, when I asked her what was the cost per patient or per treatment, the one thing that surprised me most and I admired most about her is her focus was not just about the treatment. Her focus was quite holistic. She was looking at psychosocial support. She was looking at rehabilitation post-mastectomy. When you think of all the traditional and cultural challenges that women face in places like Sierra Leone once they've been diagnosed of cancer, especially breast cancer, and where they've had to have one or both of their breasts removed, the stigma, breakdown of relationships, and so on and so forth. So she not only provides support with treatment funding, she also goes far and beyond to ensure that nutrition, for example, is well thought of, and like I said, rehabilitation and how women can move forward after such a demise. So I am therefore going to move on to her so that she can tell us what amazing job she's been doing in Sierra Leone, her fight to close this gap, oh my God, and how she is an inspiration to some of us and gives us hope that things are on the right track and direction, and it will indeed, with the likes of herself and Well Woman Clinic and all these new professionals that we're getting through, as Dr. Tarali mentioned, as they all materialize in their trainings. Hopefully, in the next 5 years, I think will be, when we have such conversations, it'll be at a different level. So over to you, Mrs. Pratt.
Oh, thank you so much, Mrs. Isata Jallo. Thank you. Thank you, Doc. Dr. Charlie, you've touched on so many areas. Cancer indeed in Sierra Leone it's a challenge. I mean, being diagnosed alone, it's difficult for the service user. You know, we run an NGO and our focus really is on patient care, because it's not only about diagnosis, it's also, like you have mentioned, it's about treatment, it's about post-surgery, it's about survivorship, and also I was just talking yesterday at our event that we have to start paying attention to the maternal orphans. Because, most of the single women who pass through cancer and leave their little ones behind, they roam around as orphans, and it saddens us. However, our mission is to raise awareness, because, like the first speaker said, knowledge is power. If you know, you will know how to handle it. On the onset of that lump or any form of abnormality, you're not going to go with the myth that, oh, I've been bewitched, or Mopia boil, or, I dreamt somebody was sucking my breast and I woke up in the morning and I saw this mass. No. So if we continue in this vein about raising the awareness, in communities, in deprived communities, marketplaces, schools, churches, mosques, even visitation to the hospital, because it was a medical doctor, a young lady, who passed away about 3 months ago from breast cancer. And it is a good, I think the direction is well, because with all the strong advocacy we are all working on for the government for the political will, if I may. Because once that is in place, then speaking about the National Cancer Control Program, it will really fall in place because we are limited. We cannot hide away from that. We are so limited. It's in the event of radiation, we have to travel to Ghana or India. We are limited. We are limited with only one functioning mammogram machine. I mean, speaking of disparities, our focus today is about closing the care gap. You know, we are way behind, but we are pushing because we should not be divided by geography. Today we are happy to have Ward 2. Ward 2 serves the cancer patients, and Ward 2 is high standard. And thanks to yourself, Mrs. Isata Sisejalo, for such hard work, because I spoke to you this morning about my cousin being diagnosed with stomach cancer coming from America. And, you know, she was comfortable being admitted at Ward 2, you know. So we want these patients to be comfortable. Raising the awareness is one thing, but also, I mean, the psychosocial support. I mean, we're talking about the remote villages, the remote communities. These people are not well informed about what cancer is. We speak too much, you know. I think we have to now start breaking it down per local parlance, you know, per region, so that they will understand. And another thing we want to go into now is when we get there, let us partner well with the people that we're going to meet, the chiefs, the nurses, the community nurses, because it is their space, it is their community. They understand it better. Because sometimes you see this fungating breast coming in for examination, and you wonder, how come you kept this thing so long? I don't know. Yes, you don't know because maybe the jingle is in English, you know, or maybe the jingle is even in Creole. So, I mean, if it's in Temni, we would talk in Temni. If it's in, you know, let's just do it that way. I think that would be also, it will help with closing the care gap. The referral pathway in Sierra Leone is important because for us, we serve as a first point of contact. They come to us, we register them, and then we send them down to Connaught Hospital, to Dr. Small at SOP, or sometimes Dr. Bobo, you know, who also does surgery, because it is about the hope. We have to give these people hope. They come and they're broken. They are broken that I am going to die, you know. And for you to hear those words, for a mom to hear those words, for a woman to hear those words, you know, she means business. So, I mean, I'm sure we all agree that there's a lot to do in this low income settings, but we cannot relent. We have to keep going. Shows like this is important. I mean, awareness campaigns are important, and we'll just try to break protocols and keep going until everyone is aware that cancer is real. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mrs. Parkinson Pratt. Thank you for giving us just an overview of what your foundation does in Sierra Leone. So for those of you who are just joining us, thank you so much for joining us. This is the Health Show, and today we're talking about cancer, because yesterday was World Cancer Day, and the theme is all around close the care gap. So we're looking at some of the disparities. We're looking at how things are done in Sierra Leone, to be particular, because that's my country of origin, and comparing that to how things are done here in the United Kingdom. So to see what are some of the challenges, what are some of the successes, what do we need to do going forward, and what are some of the help that are needed. And as much as that as well, we've got a survivor who will be joining us shortly, and we've got someone who is actually currently a patient going through her cancer treatment. for them to also share their experiences, and so that we could take and learn one or two things from them. So I'm going to move on now to our GP here in the UK, who is based in London, Dr. Ahmed Kamara. Thank you so much. Dr. Ahmed Kamara is trying to multitask this evening because he really can't say no to me. He's one of our vuvuzelas, and he's really, really keen. He's one of the health champions in the community, and I'm really trying to promote health and well-being amongst our community to ensure that early detection is key. Yesterday we were talking about just cancer, but in every other type of disease, if it's picked up early, or if you know your history, like Charmaine has just said, if you know yourself, sometimes some of these diseases you can actually prevent them. So he's going to come and touch on the referral process and pathway here, and give us one or two tips in terms of what really people should be thinking or considering when it comes to cancer care. Over to you, Dr. Ahmed.
Thank you very much. Perfect timing. My last patient's just walked out, so that's really good. I was listening to the other speakers, really insightful presentations. Thanks very much. So I'm a GP here in the UK, a general practitioner, and we see 90% of patients that go through the NHS, the National Health Service in the UK. So that's really the opportunity to pick up any diseases, in particular cancer diagnosis, and early diagnosis and early treatment really equals better prognosis. So the earlier we pick it up, the earlier you get diagnosed, the earlier treatment can start, and the better your chance of doing well from any cancer diagnosis. And we've heard about everything that you can do with regards to breast cancer. And knowledge is key, as we've been emphasizing. And the most important thing that I always say is look, just know your body, know what's new about you, and don't be afraid to seek help. From my experience, women are a lot better at this. Women present to us much earlier, and often when men comes, they're often being pushed by their female partners or female relative, and come to see us reluctantly. But essentially, when you come and see a GP, you may be experiencing lots and lots of different symptoms, and it may be lots of confusion to you. And you go onto Dr. Google, which is really helpful if you know what you're looking for. But it can be quite intimidating and throws back so much, information at you that either makes you panic and stay away because you don't really want to find out what's going on, or it may empower you to go and see a clinician. But when in doubt, if something new happens, go and see your GP. And when you come and see us, we'll go through your symptoms. We'll try and make sense of what's going on. We may do some initial tests, and depending on those test results, or depending on the examination findings, or depending on what your symptoms are, we may at that stage decide that it is really, really important that we refer you for onward specialist assessment ASAP, so that you can have tests that really can tell us often you get seen within 2 weeks, and the test gets done within a couple of weeks of the specialist first contacting you. And we'll have an answer as to whether or not your symptoms are because of possible cancer or not cancer at all. And we try and refer so many patients so early, so that most of the time, 90 to 95% of the time, we get, you come back, you have your test, and they haven't found cancer. Now, does that mean that the GP didn't know what they're doing? No, of course not. But it just means that we're casting the net quite wide. We're referring at relatively low threshold, because we don't want to be referring and getting 100% hit rate. Because if you're referring 100% of your referrals are positive diagnosis, that means you're probably missing quite a lot. Okay, so we'd rather refer and be told 95% of the time that this patient doesn't have cancer, but maybe 5%, 10% do. That way you can sort of be reassured that those who don't really don't. You know, those patients who you're not referring also, because we're not referring everyone, those patients who we're also not referring also don't have cancer. So I think that's really, really key, because it is scary. I mean, I myself, as a GP, I've been through the 2-week wait referral pathway. I know what it's like. I know what it's like as a patient. I know what it's like as loved ones, relatives around that patient. So it is, you know, it isn't easy. It is very scary, especially when you're waiting to find out the results of tests that you've had done, and waiting to be told, you know, whether or not you may need further tests, what the diagnosis is. You know, it can be very, very scary. So I really do sympathize. But I think, having been through the process, I think it's better to seek help than not seek help. And I think whatever we have going on within us, it is already going on within us, all right? Whether it's cancer or not, okay? So if it is cancer, if it does turn out to be cancer and you just sit there and don't seek help, it is not going to go away. It is going to remain cancer, unfortunately, until it reaches a point where you can no longer sit at home because your symptoms have become so significant. They're overwhelming you. And by the time you present, there's very little that the specialist can do for you. And if it's not cancer, it was never cancer anyway, and they will tell you that when they see you. If it was cancer and you go early, you have a much better chance of it being detected early, of having appropriate treatments, and hopefully of being cured of your cancer, being able to receive life-sustaining treatments. So, you know, make your GPs your best friend. And the bottom line is, if you notice anything different, come and see us. Come and see us, and we'll help you make sense of it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed. That is very good. Make your GP your best friend. Unfortunately, in Sierra Leone, there is no such thing as a GP, and if you're affluent or you're financially stable, you can have your own personal physician. However, your personal physician might not be a general practitioner. So that's where there's another gap. So you would have a surgical doctor will be the medical doctor, and the medical doctor could be the orthopedic surgeon, and so on and so forth. So, which is why we're doing this program, so that we could kind of identify these gaps and see how best we can support our fellow clinicians back home, or all those who are interested in supporting physicians and the ministry to move healthcare forward, not just generally cancer, but healthcare in general in Sierra Leone needs some serious attention. And I think we've been banging on the door for many, many years. And there is progress. It's just that it's very, very slow progress. And so it's like a drop in an ocean. So it's very difficult to actualize it and actually see the impact it's doing in terms of the changes that are being put in place. But I am going to go on now to another lovely lady who is also a breast cancer specialist, and I've known her for many years, and she's going to talk to us about what she does in general, but one of the groundbreaking stuff she's done lately, which we've all been banging on about. It's been on social media, it's been on the mainstream news, and what it means for Black and ethnic minorities, because I think one of the things we also struggle with in terms of the Black and ethnic minority people in wherever we find ourselves that is not Africa, things are not really conditioned to the tone of our skin. I'll take a simple example, phlebotomy. Those are the people who take your blood when they need blood tests. When I was doing my training, I don't know if it's changed now, it was done on a white Caucasian mannequin. That's what you practice on. However, which then makes it difficult when you're having to deal with someone from a Black Asian minority ethnicity, because we've either got brown skin or black or darker skin, which means if you've been taught to look for the veins in a white Caucasian, when you're faced with a non-white Caucasian, you find it very difficult. So I remember when I was being trained to do phlebotomy, I was told, feel. I was told, feel, don't look. Because if you look, you will fail your non-Caucasian patients. And that goes again as well for things like cannulation, when you're trying to cannulate someone to give them intravenous infusions, and so on and so forth. So little things like that we think, this is minor, it makes a lot of difference. So our Sarah is going to talk to us about what she does, and also one of the things she's been doing, behind the scene in the last, I would say, 3 or so years now, because I think it was pre-pandemic you started working on this thing, and then after the pandemic slowed it down, and then now it's come to fruition, and it's just amazing. It's just amazing to see the outcome. So over to you, Sarah.
Wow, thank you. That is a lovely introduction. My name is Sarah Adoma. I am originally a Ghanaian. Been living in the UK, and I'm a nurse specialist in breast cancer. Now, I had a slide, but the slide was just really to guide me in terms of what we're going to talk about. And as Asata said, I will show a couple about the change that we've been able to bring in place in the UK currently. And hopefully, it will be something that can be rolled worldwide or wherever we find any woman of color, if it's a right term to use. So I think a lot of what the previous presenters have mentioned really, really resonate. But some of the things that were mentioned that I think especially Mrs. Parkinson-Pratt mentioned and talked about deprived areas and some of the issues, the myths and the misconceptions, quite sadly, in the UK, in the Western world, those same myths and misconceptions persist among our folks. And so those things still impact on how we see cancer, how we reach out to get help, or not for that matter. And I was going to just talk briefly a bit about what breast cancer is, talk a bit about the focus on the case for Black women, and then we'll talk briefly about treatment, and then we'll move on to this new intervention or innovation. So when we talk about breast cancer, what is breast cancer? Breast cancer is obviously a malignant tumor that happens within the breast. Our body is made up of cells from our hair to our toes, made up of billions of cells. Now these cells are programmed to work regularly, and sometimes some of these cells go bad and they start to behave abnormally, and they can form a lump. Sometimes they can cause a change in the skin of the breast. Sometimes they can cause a change in the shape of the breast. And breast cancer is not one disease. Breast cancer is what we will call heterogeneous disease. What does that mean? It covers a wide range of different types. So there are different types of breast cancer. And sometimes what we find is that you might meet somebody who is going through breast cancer treatment, and you think, why is that person having that treatment and I'm not having that treatment? And can cause some confusion. It's because breast cancer generally isn't one disease. So there are different types of the disease. and often based on the biology, based on the features of the on the cells, that will inform the type of treatment or the way your treatment will be approached. I think I would really just want to reiterate the theme that has been going through the previous speakers, in that cancer can be treated with a better chance of survival prognosis if it's picked up early. And so screening is a really important part of that process, but also getting to know who you are and how your body works, what is, familiar about your breast. And I think part of it is because, again, culturally, we are sort of brought up in a way that we don't touch ourselves. It's not a thing that you do. You don't look at yourself. You don't feel yourself. And so that's something that, again, we need to change that mindset. Your breasts are yours. If you can't touch them, nobody has a right to touch them. So we need to start to learn to be more familiar with the breast, the way it looks, the way it feels. And we know the changes and be vigilant about the changes that we see about the breast. It's a common disease. In the UK, about nearly 56,000 women are diagnosed a year, which amounts to 150 cases per day. Every day, 150 women are told they have breast cancer. It's not just cancer for women. Men too get breast cancer. So about 370 men are diagnosed with breast cancer yearly. So it's not a disease that affects only women. We are talking across the whole of humanity here. The cases have been going up about 18%. Breast cancer often happens primarily in women beyond the age of 50. And we often say if somebody's beyond 50 and they get breast cancer, it's not unusual. 1 in 7 women will get breast cancer in their lifetime. And that is, again, something that we all have to face. But there is a different case for Black women, which is important that we have to acknowledge. Black women get breast cancer younger than our white Caucasian women. And that is something that has been well documented, although the documentation in the UK is not as huge as that of our American counterparts, but there is enough evidence to prove that Black women get breast cancer much younger than our white Caucasian women. Black women get cancer which are often considered to be aggressive cancers as well. And that's something that we have to be aware of. And that then brings me back onto the issue about knowing your family history, because some of these types of breast cancers are often linked with a particular type of gene mutation. That if you know the family history, you can actually go to your doctor, wherever you are in the world, to have that conversation with the doctor and say, this is what my family history is. This and that person in my family have had breast cancer. I am at this age. What can I do? What should I be doing? So that you can seek appropriate help and support wherever you are in the world. So it's really important that we know that. Now, what we also find from some of the data is that even when women of Black and ethnic minority descent have go through breast cancer treatment, it seems the outcome, how well they do, doesn't seem to reflect the same as our Caucasian counterparts. Now, that's something, again, there's a lot of some research going on in the background to try and understand what exactly is going on for us. Why is it different in terms of our outcomes? So there's a lot that is going on in the background, but a lot that is also happening right now. And we all, and I mean we as in clinicians, like myself and my colleagues on the panel here today, but also the community needs to be very, very much involved. We need to be very much involved and proactive about talking about our health, but also being empowered to seek and discuss our treatment types. Importantly, being involved in clinical trials and research, because a lot of what we do is informed by research. Now, if that research is done on our white Caucasian counterparts and it shows that it's beneficial, doesn't necessarily mean it's beneficial for us. And often, when you look at clinical trials and look at the eligibility and look at the outcomes of that, and you see the different populations, often you see that there is the amount of population from the Black and ethnic minority is quite low. there is something that we need to start changing, we need to start talking about in terms of how we see clinical trials and research in general, because we have to be at the table to be able to benefit from whatever is going on that table. So we need to be looking at it in a different way and engaging with it positively so that the outcomes of it will be beneficial to all of us. Now, even when people have come through the door and been diagnosed with the cancer of any type, and I'll focus more on breast because it's my area of specialism, as Mrs. Pratt mentioned before, there's a lot that comes along with that person. And having been in touch with other folks, you know, the themes seem to be the same. People are told lots of very horrible things that are not okay. Why did you get this cancer? Where did you get this cancer from? You know, we don't have cancer in our family. Who has it in their family? You know, it's like almost like you've gone and bought it from somewhere and brought it into their home. You know, we say things to people that makes them feel completely broken. Instead of them having love and care and support, we actually break them even more by our utterances. They go to churches and they get told they're casting away the cancer as if cancer is something that, you know, has been, it's just not very unhelpful things that are told to people. People are made to feel literally that they shouldn't, they've made themselves unwell. And that's something that is really happening here in the UK. You know, women can't talk to their families about their cancer diagnosis for fear of being ostracized, for fear of being cast away by the family, by the community, by the church that's meant to accept them and love them and care for them. They can't talk to them about it because they will be seen in a different way. So we have to change the conversations. It's nothing that anybody has done wrong. Cancer is not by witchcraft. It's not by any juju. It's not by any black medicine. Cancer happens because our body changes. Now, sometimes I say to people, if you think about when you buy a brand new car and you start it and it starts straight away, you don't have any trouble with it. As the time goes on, 5-10 years down the line, you start it and it goes, and you have to take it to the mechanic. It's the same thing our body does. As you grow, your body starts to break down. And that's when things can go wrong. And so let us see these diseases as a natural part of our human life, human existence. And when it happens, we get the right help for it at the right time so that we can carry on living and doing what we want to do. There are lots of treatment for breast cancer. And how I often explain to people is, think of the breast cancer treatment under two big umbrellas. The one umbrella is to control the disease where it is, in that breast, under the armpit. And so often treatment will be to remove whatever is there, and that will be surgery. Surgery takes away the cancer, remove the tissue and everything, and then keep that woman, hopefully the breast, if they can. If not, then the whole breast may be removed. Now, after that, often you might be recommended radiotherapy, which is a radiation type of treatment. And the whole point of that is to consolidate the surgery. So whatever the surgery has removed, we want to try and just bump it up a little bit to make sure that we reduce the chance of the cancer coming back in that particular breast. And that's the one big umbrella for local control. Then you look at systemic control. We want to control the risk of the cancer coming back anywhere else in the body. And that means we give you treatment that treats the whole of you. Again, I try to use a lot of analogy in my clinic, and I explain it this way. If you think about cancer as a family and you're living here and you're having children, your children are having children, over the course of time, there's going to be too much of you there that will not fit in that space. And some of those children will want to break away and go and find a place to live. And that is what happens with cancer. Some of those cells will think, I can't fit here. I'm not getting enough food and nutrients to be able to survive. I need to go and find my own space. So they will break off to go and find another place to live. So we think about those possible cells that may break off and go somewhere else. And so the treatment that is given to treat the whole of you is to make sure we mop up those cells and kill them off. They don't have a chance to settle down to come and cause you problem in the future. And those treatments will often be things like chemotherapy, Or for breast cancer, we give anti-hormone, or sometimes called endocrine therapy, because we know that for about 70% of breast cancers, or it will have a sensitivity response to the female hormone estrogen. So by giving you an anti-estrogen tablet, we can block the action of the cells and keep that cancer at bay. There are even more newer advancements in treatment where we can use immunotherapy for some breast cancer patients. There are what we call biological or targeted therapies where we can use for certain types of breast cancers. So there is a multitude of treatment that can be used, but to ensure that you have the best outcome, often each individual may require these treatments in different shapes. So some people will say, I have the surgery, I don't want that bit. That bit is part of the extending your life. That bit is part of making, hopefully keeping this cancer at bay. So they have to come together. And the more we can offer sometimes and ensure a good outcome for you, the better. So it's about always thinking about it and asking questions. If your doctor is saying to you, you need X, Y, Z, ask, why do I need that X, Y, Z? What are the other options that I can consider? You know, write down questions when you come to your clinic appointment or go to see your doctor. Don't be afraid of your doctor. Wherever you are in the world, your doctor is there for you. Without you, your doctor can't practice. You know, so you as patients, it's a partnership. Your doctor is there because of you, and you are there because of him or her. So write down questions, ask questions, you know, go and do your research. Let people do research for you so that you can make sure that you get the most outcome from your treatment. And also use other organizations like Charmaine presented earlier. There are lots of organizations that are available. If you're in the UK or even abroad, you can still access the information on those organization websites. Read it, you know, be equipped with that information. In the UK, there's another very good charity that have set up for supporting Black women and Black men, and it's called Black Women Rising, and they have a magazine which is free of charge that you can order online, and it's really packed full of information and support for anyone going through cancer or know somebody going through cancer, any cancer at all. So there are all these resources that are available for us to utilize. Now, as Isata said, because of my work and because meeting lots of women who are going through breast cancer, we realized that, you know, when women have had mastectomy, the whole breast removed, there's a service in the UK that we offer them. We give them something called a prosthesis or a comfy or a softie, sometimes it's called. But there is two colors that we give to all the women. It's a pink or a beige color. It doesn't matter what color or skin tone you are. Women were given this same skin tone of prosthesis. And obviously, some of them will come back to us and really tell us how upsetting it is for them to have a pink breast or a beige breast color. So myself and another colleague thought, we can't not do anything about the situation. It's gone on for too long, and women have cried in clinic with us, you know, very upset. So we went to do some research, look at what is out there. Nothing was out there. And about just over a year ago, we approached the hospital trust that I work, Royal Marsden Cancer Charity, and we asked for support. And in that time, we approached a company which produces lingerie for women of color to ask if they would be happy to support the project, and they were in agreement. And so the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity gave us the money for us to be able to do it. And with that help, we were able to come up with 4 skin tone color of breast prosthesis for women of color that woman can be offered. And essentially means that that woman comes into clinic, we can swatch match their skin with what color would be most appropriate for them, and then we can give the woman a skin tone color of prosthesis that they can wear in their bra, that it will make them feel and look more like themselves, will give them the confidence and the ability to be able to, you know, feel that it's them. It's nothing that they have to be ashamed of or shy away from, but it gives them a bit more of empowerment and confidence and body image, which is really important if a woman is going through breast cancer treatment. And I do have a slide of it, if I can share that slide. Femi, is that slide available that I can share it with the panel and everybody else watching us?
Yes. Which slide is it?
It is.
So I've got the first slide with your name on it.
Yeah. So go to the
okay.
Fourth slide.
The fourth slide. Okay.
Yeah.
1 minute. Fourth slide.
Yes.
Okay, we're there now.
Thank you. So, like I said, in terms of closing the gap, it's something that in the UK we are doing now to try and really improve the care that we give to women. Now, obviously, it's not only a UK-based project. We would like it to go worldwide, and we've already had some interest from other places in the world. We've had interest from Canada, and it was on BBC Africa to try and really promote this, so that wherever any woman of color, any Asian woman, any Middle Eastern woman, who is going through breast cancer and breast cancer treatment, being offered a mastectomy, they can have something that woman can then wear to give them that a bit of body positiveness to make them feel better about themselves. They are in 4 colors. They come in caramel, they come in berry, a cinnamon, a caramel, and a cafe au lait. And really, it's just kind of trying to cover as much bases for skin tone women as possible. So this is something that we have at the Royal Marsden that we are being able to offer, but we are actually working with the company to roll it out much wider so that whoever is going through treatment in the NHS will be able to access it freely. But obviously, something that we have to think about in terms of taking back something home to our respective countries and being able to share it with the folk outside, and having the support of things like NGOs and other charities to support the project. So thank you very much.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. I like that analogy of the car. The body is like the car. When it's new, it's easy. When it's not, you have to start. When it starts aging, you have to start going. My mom used to say, as you age, you become Ford, fix or repair daily. So, and I think that goes not just for our physical being, but also what's happening with us internally and from an anatomy and physiology point of view. I know this breast prosthesis has been quite an exciting, groundbreaking, innovative work that you and your colleague, with the support of the Royal Marsden and this lingerie company. And in terms of cost, what are you looking at, and how would it? I know you've said the next step is really to think about how to introduce this into developing countries, because recently I had to get breast prosthesis for one of my patients, and I was looking. They are so expensive. Mm-hmm. They range from anything from £100 up to £600 and everything. And I was like, whoa, this is interesting. And of course, within NHS here in England, people don't really know the value of it because it's given to them as part of the National Health Service. But for NGOs like Thinking Pink, who are really keen to do it and support their women, I think I've seen her. There's some of the survivors who do a bit of knitting ball, isn't it, Mrs. Parkinson Pratt? There's some of your survivors who, like a knitting ball that we would say are softies for ladies to wear to replace their breast. And But in terms of cost, how do you intend to tackle that?
So that's a very good question, and that's something that obviously, whilst we were doing the project, is something that we've talked about and we've pondered over. Now, obviously, as I said, in the NHS, it's provided as part of their care, and so every trust will absorb that as part of the care. Now, what the company that we partnered with obviously want to do this more extensively, and so the initial discussions was to try and get that interest in the UK to go in, whilst we can then start looking at abroad as well. And they'll be very happy to have conversations with NGOs like Think Pink and things like that in terms of how do we support women in the abroad. Now, the prosthesis come in two different forms. So the one that you're referring to is sort of the permanent one, which is often the silicone type one, and those are quite expensive, and that is, you know, more sustainable, if you like. It lasts longer. The one that we've done recently is more the initial product that the woman is given, so that hopefully no woman should walk out of a clinic or a hospital after surgery looking flat. The woman should walk out of the hospital looking the way they walked in, which is that they have two breasts. In front of them, they look symmetrical. So the whole idea is to give them the softy, which they can wear right after their surgery, immediately wearing their bra and walk out of the hospital. Now, some women, because it's soft, it's light, some women will choose to carry on wearing that for the foreseeable future, which is absolutely fine. And then maybe still have the permanent one in the background in case they want to use it interchangeably. But this particular innovation was to do with the soft ones that we feel is important, even though it can be a temporary measure. For some women, it's a permanent measure as well. And I think with the cost, it's something that we can look at, because hopefully it needs to be reasonable and you know, for people to be able to access it. Other than that, we haven't really gone far with it. So in terms of the price, it needs to be within a certain reach, and obviously with support from charities, then that cost can be covered without putting the company out of pocket, but also making sure that our women, wherever they are able to access it.
Okay, thank you so much for that clarification. Yes, and I guess as we've just been talking, that's probably one of the challenges, isn't it? And in terms of costing, in terms of how do we make sure or ensure people across the globe can benefit from some of these amazing innovative efforts. And thank you so much for that, Sarah. Now we're going to move on to a lovely lady who I only met a few months ago. It's been amazing. It's been a blessing meeting her. She'll probably say, oh no, it's her blessing meeting me. But it works both ways, because even us as healthcare professionals, we have a lot to learn from our patients. Like Sarah stressed on, in the West here, it's partnership. Dr. Ahmed will echo that. Charmaine will echo that. It is partnership with your patient. You have to have that partnership with your patient in order to ensure that you're delivering that high quality of care that you're supposed to deliver, and you're giving patient satisfaction, as well as the patient needs to feel comfortable to be able to ask you the right questions, to make sure they make and have an informed decision. So it's very, very important, and that's the way we work. That's the ethos. You know, it's learning from both sides. So as much as part of the health show's mission is to help fund treatments and support NGOs like Thinking Pink, Well Woman, to as a driving force behind the fight against cancer, we also learn a lot from these patients. They give us what we don't know, because we've already, as Mrs. Parkinson Pratt has identified, and also as Sarah has identified, Black women get diagnosed with cancer at a very young age compared to white Caucasians. I mean, in Sierra Leone now, there's so much research that can be done because Mrs. Pratt they're 16 years old coming through the door. And when they've had their biopsies and histology results, they are positive of breast cancer. And the first few times she said it to me, I'm like, no, it can't be. It shouldn't be happening. They're only 16. But then as the data is coming through, I'm like, yes, you are. And I see the results. I see the histology results. And some of the histology results are not only done in-house, as in Sierra Leone. They're actually sent out of the country, either to South Africa or to Ghana or as far as India, for those who can afford it. And it comes back and you're thinking, is there environmental factors here at play? Is there other factors here at play other than, because according to research, which again is done in the Western world, the youngest person I've come across in all my years of cancer care, I think is about 26 years of age that has been diagnosed of breast cancer per se. And it was really an eye-opener for me. So we have a lot to learn. We have a lot of research to do. And again, like Sarah stressed out, us Black people or non-white people need to be more involved and active in research, in pioneering some of these treatments, in contributing to what it means to us. I've had people who have said in our community, oh, chemotherapy was designed to kill Black people. And initially I was angry and very disappointed at that individual. But as I spend more time in cancer care, as I read and do my research, as I speak to patients, it kind of, the penny dropped. And then it's just interesting where Sarah said as well, we as Black people, we tend to, treatment needs to be more aggressive on us, or the disease is more aggressive on us. And again, that's probably because the treatment is not tested on us. We don't volunteer ourselves to be tested, or we don't contribute to some of these researches or trials. And my background is the Royal Marsden, where I met Sarah, and it's the largest cancer hospital charity in Europe, and their focus is trials. And there was a time when I was there, I did a 1-year secondment as a research nurse, and through that 1 year, I didn't see one Black person that came to sign up for research. So how do we expect to be treated? How do we expect to be cured if we're not getting involved with the basics? Because that is the basics. The trial is the basic. These medications are not just readily available. They have to go through so many rigorous tests and testing, gathering of data for them to actually be signed off as fit for purpose or good enough for human consumption. So these are some of the things we really need to think about as Black people. What is our role in all of this? Nobody wants to die, even though death is inevitable. Nobody wants to be ill, even though, like Sarah just said, the human body is just like a car. It withers as years go by. So whether we like it or not, some of these diseases, we will come across them, and we expect to be treated, and rightly so. But what are our contributions to ensuring that the treatment works for us is one of the things I want our viewers and listeners to really think about going forward. So over to you, Margaret. If you could just give us a brief of who you are and why you're here. And I believe you have a little note piece that you want to just read out to the viewers as a kind of food for thoughts, really. And once more, thank you and welcome to the Health Show Partnership Program. on Sierra Gem Media. You're on mute.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Margaret Atunwa. I was diagnosed with breast CA 2 years ago. After removing twice lump, I did my lumpectomy twice, and then it reoccurred again. I had to go for mastectomy, which I did last year, June 16th, at the Connaught Hospital at Ward 2, and it was done by Dr. Small and team. I just want to share my journey as a cancer patient, or what we cancer patients really want people, or how we want people to treat us. It's a journey. I always say it's a journey. And we need people to, to see us through, to go with us through this journey. It's not been easy. I have few etiquette of a cancer journey here. Just some tips that I believe we will digest, and at least to know how to treat cancer patients, people diagnosed with cancer, not just breast cancer. I was diagnosed with breast cancer and gone through a lot. That's just human. So I just want to share, cancer is no longer a silent disease, under how it feels. For me, I have this quote that says, those who feels it knows it. Indeed, these specialists that, they can explain about cancer, but it's only when you feel how it's, how it works in the body. I don't pray it happens to anybody, but it's only us that feels it, knows it. Many people say inappropriate things without realizing the effects. We often, do our best, but our efforts still fall short. How do we find the right words to talk to someone with a cancer diagnosis? Many do whisper about cancer or use the C word in fear of not bringing it onto themselves. Today, despite its prevalence, advanced treatment, and increasing survival rates, many people still don't know how to handle the news or support those going through it. One thing I would say is, step one, be present. People diagnosed with cancer have gone through a lot by, family members leaving them, friends, don't ignore the person with cancer. Some people disappear when they know someone with cancer or being diagnosed with cancer. Avoiding being around them has a negative impact because you don't know how to handle it. A diagnosis of cancer brings one to a lonely place. Yeah. Sometimes, just tell them. If you don't know what to say, just say, I'm here for you. I love you. Or just say, I don't, maybe whilst the person is explaining how he or she is going through, how she's feeling or he's feeling, just say, I'm here for you. I'm thinking about you. It's quite a good one to use as a way of checking and stay connected with them. Just be connected. Don't leave them. For me, I was in a relationship. I will share this. The person left because I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So it's heart-rending for you to stay with someone for a long time, for years, and because of you being diagnosed of a disease, and that person left without thinking that you didn't brought that thing upon yourself. The other thing I would say is think before you speak. Think before you speak. Your words and actions can be powerful. One comment can instantly undo someone's positive mood. Don't be overgrave and mournful. Avoid cliches like hero, battle, if the person gets worse. Some of us, we want to say thank God for early diagnosis, early detection, and we are able to go through it. As you can see, except I tell somebody that, I'm a CA patient and all the rest of it, or this is what I'm going through. But for some, because of late detection, it's something else. You can't be seeing somebody going down the drain and you go, you'll be okay, you'll be fine. Another step 3 says, follow their lead. Let the person with cancer set the tone about what they want to talk about. It doesn't always have to be about cancer. Talk about something funny or hilarious, and even a bit of juicy, gossip. Sometimes people, the moment they see you, they start, how is your cancer? How are you feeling? Sometimes we want to talk about something else, not just cancer. We want to talk about something else. Allow your friend to talk about cancer if they want to. If I don't want to talk about cancer, don't pay me a visit and started asking me, how is your, it's like you taking my mood from something positive to a negative thing. It might spoil my day. Save the pity eyes and sad voice. Sometimes cancer patients just want to cheer them up. Cheer them up. Sometimes you just, burst into tears after thinking, like, for me, I'm a single mom of 4, I just want to be there for my children. I just want to be, stay strong and go through this journey. I won't say I'm battling with cancer, but it's the journey I'm going through because I've done my mastectomy and now I'm on my chemotherapy treatment, which I believe, thing I would say is don't make it personal. Avoid talking to you, especially when they are talking about, or sharing their experience. Don't minimize their experience. Fine. You don't know that. Instead, say, okay. And who are so downcast, they are in pain. The thing about cancer is the pain, especially in the 4th stages, where the cancer has metastasis. It's very, very painful. Sometimes you even don't want to talk to people because you are going through pain. Another thing I would say is be a good listener. At times, this is the best thing to do. Let the person with cancer talk without interrupting. You don't need to have all the answers. Just show compassion. They may also not want to talk at all. Just sit quietly. And it happens too. At times, you don't want to talk about it. You even don't want to talk. It's like you thinking, am I going to die? How long do I have? What is going to happen to me? I have so much to do. Will I be able to accomplish all these things in life? You don't know. Sometimes you just sit quiet and meditate on these things and, be calm. You don't want to talk to anybody. It happens. Even in the hospital, you being admitted, you will see nurses walk up to you and start talking, and You'll be just be looking at that nurse point blank, and in your mind you will be saying, she doesn't even know what I'm going to. Those who feels it knows it. Be respectful of their boundaries. Don't be intrusive. Avoid asking questions about blood levels, other tests, tumors, markers, except if you are the one responsible for their treatment. If you know you are not the one that is responsible for their treatment, don't ask them certain questions. There are things that are very personal. They don't want to talk about it. Some people will pay you a visit. All they will start asking is about the cancer, about this, about, like people do say in Sierra Leone, how this cancer they do now? What did doctor say? No, it's personal. It's confidential. Sometimes people don't want to talk about it. People don't want to talk about it. Let the person have the freedom to offer their health information to you. Another thing says, it said, don't be prescriptive. Don't preach to them about what and how they should be thinking, feeling, responding, etc. Avoid discrediting their treatment process and suggesting alternative treatment or lifestyle. Encourage individuality and independence. People will be telling you how to live your life. Oh, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. I think the medical practitioners are the ones to tell us how to live, how to, go through your prescription, like me going through chemotherapy. I have things I will eat, what I will do, but people will just come out from the blues like that and start telling you what to do. Don't do this, don't do this. It's not done. Be mindful around body image. Avoid commenting on how they look, especially around their hair loss. As you can see, I'm bald, and people do ask me, what's wrong? Why did you? Because I have plenty of hair, a very long hair before, but since I'm on chemotherapy now, I know, you all know, my hair is off, loss of weight, general appearance, black. Your feet are black. It's because of the treatment. As I said, we are going through a journey. We are going through a journey, and we need people. We don't need people to body shame us, people to start, thinking of how we look. We already know how we look, how we appear. We don't need people to remind us of it. Another step says, be compassionate and show kindness. Give us random hugs. The moment some people are being diagnosed with cancer, people don't even want to touch you. They don't want to come closer to you. Hand holding, meaningful gifts such as magazines, seeds can be very useful. Encourage them to be positive. Offer to help with housekeeping, accompanying them to hospital appointments. Be encouraging, using successful stories or taking them for work or other low-level functions, activities, And be there for people diagnosed with cancer. Be compassionate. Go out with them. It's not been easy. People don't want to go out sometimes with us. I have a friend who says, Margaret, we used to go out, but now since you are not keeping well, you can stay home. Even when I want her to go out with me, she will say, no, you are on treatment, you are weak, so just stay at home. Another one says, maintain privacy. and confidentiality. A cancer journey is quite individualist. Therefore, avoid comparing. Don't talk about your friend or never miss a day at work. Avoid talking about the odds or making assumptions about prognosis. Yeah, even in the hospital, I would say it do happen. They will tell you, oh, look, that you comping. They do fine. How you they make so? You too they make weak. No, this person, when he or she was strong and healthy, they were doing fine. For me, I was so energetic. When I go to work, I do run. Those who know Connaught Hospital, I run up those stairs, but now I can't. After taking 5 or 6 steps, I got tired. You see, so our body system is not the same. Somebody might be going through, the treatment or even surgery because of how the gravity of the stage of the cancer in their body, they can't do a lot. They need encouragement. They need a lot of encouragement. A cancer journey from diagnosis through to treatment comes with a lot of pain, anxiety, uncertainty, and hopelessness. Some of the treatments can be very aggressive. When I went through the surgery was okay. Thanks to Dr. Small and team and the nurses at ward 2. But when I started my chemotherapy, I will quarrel with everybody that crosses my path, because the Margaret I used to be is not the Margaret anymore. I will fall sick, especially the first week of my treatment. I will fall sick, vomiting, nausea, weakness. You name them. It's not easy. The treatment is very aggressive. We hope that there will be something better, as I made to understand that there are research is going on to improve on the treatment. It's a process. It's a process. Help them to go through it by exercising patience, sensitivity, a positive atmosphere. Sometimes we talk, Sometimes I will talk and talk and talk and talk just to be heard. Know your body and be vigilant about recognizing, identifying changes and around your body, and seek immediate medical attention. Most people diagnose, they're afraid to go to the hospital. When initially or years back when we are growing up, if somebody is being feels a lump in her breast, that person will call it and say bad bobby. But there is nothing like bad bobby anymore. Cancer is spreading like wildfire. I never had somebody in my family or my lineage that was diagnosed with even cancer, general cancer, before I say breast cancer. It's me. So I try to talk to my children that this is it, and I want you to be careful. Start checking yourself, know what and what to do, because early detection saves lives. Supporting cancer charity in any way or form can help towards closing the care gap. Please, those that are out there, our donors, partners, I want to say a very big thank you to you. You're doing a great job. Trust me, we really, really appreciate what you are doing for us. It's not easy for someone whom you are not related to just be there for you. Some of us are family members, they have deserted us. It's not easy. They have gone because of, you being diagnosed with cancer. It's like you are you are bewitched, or you are walking, walking with witches, or you've done something bad that is affecting you now, that you are paying the price, which is not. My name is Margaret Atua, the breast cancer patient. As I said, I've done my mastectomy and I'm going through my chemotherapy. The above are tips of how we want to be treated. I believe doctors are here, nurses. Sometimes when we go to the health facility, we get angry for no cause. Or I will say it's because of what we are going through. The moment a doctor talks to you or a nurse, you just, flare out. I was not like that, but sometimes I do flare out now. The moment you start talking to me or start asking me questions, I'll get angry that, this person doesn't even know what I'm going through. We can survive if you show us love and care. I want to say thank you very much to Madam Aisha. She's a godsend. I'm so blessed, I will say. I'm so blessed. There is this saying that says, when people walk away, let them walk. Because their time in your life is done. You need other people to come into your life. And that's what happened to me. There was a time, I almost gave up. What kept me was my children. Mommy, this worked as a simple. You need to eat the fruit of your labor. Don't leave us. Some people went. But here comes Madam Aisha Jalo. I want to say thank you very much. Of the health show, I want to say thank you so much. And on behalf of the patients of Ward 2, Connaught Hospital, I want to say thank you. We are saying thank you to you and your team. May God bless you. May God provide for you and your family. Thank you so much. She has been there for me through my, my treatment. I was thinking, as a single mom, I'm not even working now. How could I go about my treatment? But God sent her, and she has been an amazing person to me. Bless your family. Thank you so much. Bless you. Listening and viewers.
Oh, thank you so much, Margaret. You're almost getting us all in tears. I can see all the other panel members kind of really like head down and kind of like, oh no, but this is reality, and this is Margaret's reality, and this is the reality across the board for a lot of patients. And what Margaret is saying is kind of, she's speaking on behalf of a lot of people. And we've got another, we've got a survivor here, a male survivor, because we want to keep it even. Margaret has shared with us from somebody who lives in Africa, Sierra Leone, somebody who is a nurse herself, and somebody who was getting on with her life. When I spoke to Margaret, I said, what she said to me, Auntie Isita, apart from what as a nurse, I used to do this petty business here, this small business here, just to sustain my life. And Margaret is somebody I admire her a lot. She's an inspiration. She spent quite a few months looking for my number, and it wasn't given to her. And finally, she got it and just reached out and introduced herself. And then that was that. And so it's just been amazing. And I'm hoping and praying for the best for you, Margaret. because just your tenacity, just your
Amen. Amen.
determination to go through what you're going through is amazing. I mean, yesterday in Sierra Leone, Margaret, 6 o'clock, she was already at Lumley Beach with her T-shirt.
Yeah.
She's like, Auntie Anita, I bought
was
my counter
out.
T-shirt. We're going to go make some noise. And yesterday evening, she was all glammed. I mean, I saw the pictures, I'm like, what? Is this Margaret? Margaret was all glammed and was at Pink in Pink's Breast Cancer Foundation Glitz and Glam Night again to fundraise, you know, and it was just amazing.
Could not even recognize me.
Your doctor could not recognize you. And
yes,
so
when I dressed up and you were saying, who is this?
It's that balance we're looking for. You know, she woke up first thing this morning and she texted me, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I had a good night. And I'm like, that's all I wanted. That was my agenda. I wanted you to have a good night and forget about cancer.
Thank you so much.
You know,
it was amazing. After a long time, it was really amazing. And I slept well. I looked fabulous yesterday.
Oh, yes,
that's right. Yeah.
Yes, you did. So thank you so much. Dr. Charlie wants to say one or two things. As you know, our people in Sierra Leone, the network is a bit challenging, and so they're struggling a bit. So Dr. Charlie wants to say something because I think he's also having a bit of a technical problem. So over to you, Dr. Tawali.
Yeah, I stand on the panelists, the rest of the panelists. Margaret, I'm glad to see you.
Oh, Dr. Charlie, thank you. Oh, my darling, my darling.
The age limit for breast cancer diagnosis in UK for Caucasian women is 12 years. Taken aback because for us, when I was working with Dr. Small at Connaught. Also here in Kenema, we have one or two cases, really young patients in their early 20s that are presently on our waiting list for surgery this week, probably. So we are really trying to take a look as to why this is happening in young African women. That said, we also have challenges with the treatment, availability of the drugs, and the cost of the drugs. Most times, most patients cannot afford it. And sometimes, even when they can afford it, they might not be available in country. We have to make arrangements with the pharmacies who can import the drugs for them at, of course, a higher cost. Ward 2 at Connaught Hospital has been functioning at top-notch level. Thanks to Isata and team, they came, they refurbished the ward, they trained the nurses, and they are doing well, even though they are overwhelmed with cases. But so far, so good. They are doing a great job. We are trying to have at least another Ward 2 here in Kenema. We need support from partners, we need support from government, we need support from NGOs, so that at least our cancer cases, especially breast cancer cases, can be handled here at district level. It's a work in progress, and we are trying our level best, but we have challenges. Margaret, thank you very much. Thank you to the rest of the team, to my fellow panelists. Goodbye. I'm out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tarali. Dr. Charlie, your patient is so lovely. They're so happy to see you. Thank you so much. I know, is that a hint? You need another Ward 2 in the district. That's hint. And the interesting thing is, Dr. Tarali is currently in my hometown. That's where my father grew up, and that's where that's where we call home, really, Kenema, which is the eastern part of Sierra Leone. So for our Western non-Sierra Leoneans, the distance between the city and Kenema, it's pretty much like the distance between London and, let's say, Leeds or Manchester. So that's it. So can you imagine? So for the whole country, the only place that is really the breast cancer patients or cancer patients can call home is Ward 2. And imagine if you live all the way up north or down south or east, you know, some places like Dr. Tyree said, the rural areas, you have to walk miles before you get to the nearest town where you can then jump on a public transport to then start thinking of making your way to the city. Now, if you don't know what is wrong with you in the first place, how are you going to even make that effort? Like the young lady I met several years ago at Thinking Pink Foundation, the only reason why she was at Thinking Pink Foundation is because the auntie was a nurse and had the foundation's campaign against breast cancer and what to look out for in terms of signs and symptoms. And then the penny dropped with this auntie because they had this young girl in the village, just about 16 years old, and she had this really enlarged breast. Her breast was benign, actually, was breast hypertrophy she was suffering from. But she was ostracized. Initially, they thought she had been sexually active without permission. So they checked her out and they thought she was pregnant. They took her to the herbalist and they did all sorts of things. When I met this young lady, this lady was clinically depressed. Her breast, she had a small frame. She was she was about 5'5" or 5'6", and she was about, I would say, size 12. But her breast was, you can't even grade it. I don't know what's the highest breast cup, Sarah. You're looking at double FFF, whatever. This girl's breast was, each breast was the size of a football, you know. So she was literally hunched like this. She had a hunchback because she could not carry the weight anymore. She was so clinically depressed. And she said to me, and I said, what do you want to do? I said, this breast, they probably would have to take it out. You're young. You have to think about what the future holds and everything. And she said to me, Mommy, I just want to be normal. I want to be able to go back to school. I want my friends to stop laughing at me. And I just want to get on with my life. And I said, you sure? Is that what you want? She said, yes. She said, if that means I lose my breast, I don't mind. So Dr. Small again did the surgery, and up till now, that young girl says to Dr. Small, considering you removed my breast, no other man is going to marry me, so you're the one who's going to marry me, so you're my husband. So we made a joke of it. But that young girl, of course, I ended up adopting her, and rather than going back to the village, she then stayed in the district with her auntie, put her back into education, and that girl is one of the happiest young ladies I've come across. And so it just shows, I'm saying this to our viewers and our panelists, sometimes we think it's too much of an effort, or sometimes we think, oh, whatever little we're doing will not make any difference. It actually makes a lot of difference. And I say this to all my sponsors. Ward 2 has made such a difference in people's lives. So even if you were somebody who contributed just £5, or even if you're somebody who continues to contribute to these great causes that all of us are embarked on, just remember that it makes a difference, even if it's just to one person. You might never realize it, you might never know, but just be reassured it makes a difference. So thank you so much. Thank you. And we continue to appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Dr. Tari, for all your hard work. Don't worry, next time when I come, I'll be in Kenema. Let's see what's going on in the government hospital and see what we can do by the grace of God, you know. if we put everything to prayers, hopefully, who knows, God has his plans. And so we're going to move on to a survivor now, a fine gentleman. So we've heard from someone who is actively having treatment, who is in Sierra Leone, who doesn't have probably 1/100th of the support services available in the UK, the treatment. We've had Dr. Ahmed talk about the referral pathway. We've heard about the screening programs that are available. We've had about prosthesis. We've heard about appliances. We've heard about, you know, just the general support that is out there in the UK for people, which is very much similar across the Western world. But we've heard in terms of the gap, how wide the gap is for people who live in developing countries. But yet again, Margaret has shown us that it takes determination. And as long as you're determined, you know, sometimes you should not focus on where you are. You should also just make sure you you do what you can. And if you're getting the right support, you can still pull through. So it's not a death sentence to be diagnosed of cancer in Sierra Leone or any developing country, especially if it's, you know, detected early. So welcome to Sir Winston. He doesn't like me calling him Sir or Mr. He's an evangelist, and he's become a champion now in the campaign. He's one of my champion ambassadors in terms of campaigning about early detection and what it means, and giving people hope. Winston has actually recently done a piece of work with Royal Marsden Hospital and Cancer Research, again, just to try and encourage Black men in coming forward. Like Dr. Ahmed said earlier on, Black men are less likely to come forward in terms of concerns that they've experienced or that they're experiencing compared to women. So, Winston, thank you so much for joining us. If you could just quickly give us just a brief, just really a brief, and then what message would you want to give out to people out there who are watching, who might be going through a prostate cancer treatment or about to go through their investigations, and or what they should be doing in terms of survivorship?
Yes, thank you very much. Sorry to be late, and I'll be brief because I've already... are you hearing me? I'll be brief because I've already preached twice in church today, this morning and this afternoon. So that's the beginning of my message. You know, if you're going through any form of cancer, this is me. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2011, and this is me preaching. You know, just like Margaret said, you wouldn't know unless I say this. And before I go further, thanks to Margaret, the survivor, you know, going through treatment, I don't have to repeat all that portion. I mean, you are fantastic. You know, all what you said really applies to me, and I echo that. I'm saying to men generally, because I've been picked up by men who are not Black, saying, Winston, you keep saying Black men don't speak up. Black men they're ashamed to talk about what is happening with them. They told me that even us, you know, some of us who are not Black don't speak up. The early detection for me is a fact. And the communication also is the key, because I was just watching TV and Prostate Cancer UK was doing an advert, you know, or you know, awareness campaign, giving the signs. Then I saw that some of these signs applied to me. You know, I was getting up frequently at night to pass urine, and basically that was it, you know, so painfully. So I went to my GP. Of course, my GP thought it was some infection, but I knew I was a good boy, so I could not pick up any venereal disease infection and all the rest of it. You know, but anyway, give me some antibiotics. Okay, fast forward, I went to Guy's Hospital and they did the test, and of course, eventually, I was. But you see, before diagnosis, and this is what I want to speak. I want to direct at men who are going through the process, of going through tests. Please be patient and listen to the GP or the nurse. For example, when the consultant, and this is not in Sierra Leone, this is in this United Kingdom, London, Guy's Hospital, when I was told that, I should do a biopsy, biopsy, well, the doctors would have explained that taking this part of the prostate, because it means prostate cancer. I mentioned to one person, the person said, don't do it. In fact, Uncle so-and-so, I just cut off. And at that point, I decided not to speak up to anyone, but just go directly. Right? The end result is where I am now. So, one is the early detection, and two is really, as Margaret was saying, because some people will not know what to say to you. For me, it was easy not to allow people to talk to me. Now, the cousin, my brother who brought me to this United Kingdom, you understand? Well, maybe the family might not want me to mention them, but I know Camilda know whom I'm talking about. When he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, you understand? And we made it known to some family members. They were calling me from all over the world saying, how many more months does cousin Joe have to live? Some were even going, when is cousin Joe going to die? I mean, the man was alive. He merely said, I have pancreatic cancer. And the calls were coming. When is he going to die? In this United Kingdom. Not from illiterate in Africa. In fact, whatever I'm doing and I did is in tribute to that, my cousin. Because by the time the pancreatic cancer was detected, it was late. And the consultant said that, So from that, and that's why I'm saying what I'm doing is in tribute to him. When I started feeling something I had, I said, wow, I have to go, and here am I standing, And interestingly, when we're going to some of his medical papers, we realized that he had prostate cancer at one point, and possibly it spread to the organ. So the only message I want to, is the key message we're talking about, and also for men to continue, those who have been diagnosed, because Margaret said it all. It's a difficult time in your life, but it's to be strong and continue listening. I have friends, again, in this London, they don't like to listen, but I realize that they have been listening, because then they call me, oh, Winston, while we were drinking coffee, because coffee is the only thing I drink, I started to know that, that's what we were talking about, because they don't want to talk about their feelings in public. I went to my GP and he said so and so. Some follow up. Some say, Winston, these doctors, they like put sick and posting, and then they go there again. I'm not going to even continue going to that doctor because I don't want to hear bad news. Please, it's not bad news. In fact, it is good news. It's good news when you know and you continue for treatment. For those who survive, well, I don't know what surviving means, but if you've gone through the process of treatment, there's always the advice from the GP and the nurse that you should be in touch. At times, every 3 months, every 6 months, every year, for a period 3 or maybe 5 years. Please abide by that. I think I'm talking about some survivorship now, and I will end with that. I don't want to do a third sermon this Sunday. I think we are too quick to rejoice, to use a religious term, to celebrate that, oh, I have survived. I did my surgery last week. I'm okay. No, you are not okay until the GP says you're okay. You're not okay until the GP, the nurse says, okay, you cannot come again. But I know that for most times, as Margaret mentioned, after the surgery, there might be a few cells, there might be something that you might need to do chemotherapy. After I had my surgery, 3 months after, there were some cancer cells detected later on because I went for the PSA test. And as usual, you have the option. The consultant said, "Oh, Winston, would I'm recommending that you go for chemotherapy." Everything that I have heard about chemotherapy was bad. So if I had said no, it would have made sense to me because everything, right? And fortunately, I went for the chemotherapy. I'm sorry, Margaret, you found it painful. And that's why, every case is different. For me, it was not painful. For me, it has been successful because it was done 10 years ago. And, but if I hadn't gone for the chemotherapy, I believe I would not have been sitting talking here, So on survivorship, I'm asking, if you've had the surgery, you have to continue, because I know wherever you are, the GP, the nurse will say, come in 3 months, come tomorrow, come next week, continue. And the follow-up treatment, again, as I say, we're quick to say, I'm well, and let our doctor left me, they won't leave you, it's for your own good. And for all folks, black or white, but especially my black brothers, whom I am talking to, you see, at times, I'm talking to them, but you call me a champion. I'm not a champion. Some of them are not listening, you understand? Or they are afraid to show me they are listening, you understand? But I tell you something. A lot of my friends, a lot of people that are not my friends have listened, and I give thanks to God for that, because they give me a call and say, Winston, God bless you. Do you know I went to the GP, and the rest is a pleasant end of their story. As I said, I will stop here for now. And honestly, if I can go through the screen, I will grab you, Aissata, in Thanksgiving, and Dr. Ahmed and all of you. You've done wonderful, wonderful things to our lives. You understand? And God will just bless you and bless you and bless you. Amen.
Amen, amen, amen. Thank you so much, Winston. Thank you. Very much appreciated. Don't worry, they are listening. They are listening, and we just have to continue banging at their doors. Boom, boom, boom. And which is what we're doing today. My producers are worried. One of them is saying, we don't have too much viewers. The viewer numbers is low. I said to him, don't worry. It's Sunday. The beauty of this program is there are people who are probably sorting out their kids for tomorrow morning. The fact that it's on Facebook, the fact that it's on YouTube, and you share, we continue sharing the link. People can, sometimes some of my programs, 6 months down the line, I get a notification saying, oh, somebody is watching this program, which I did 6 months ago. So that's the beauty of social media. So the fact that at the moment, we've got like about an average of 12 people who are staying on. Those 12 people, if each one of them takes the message and shares it with another one person, that is 12 times 12, it's 144, and those other 144. So the message is going out there. So we don't relent. One of the first lessons I got from Mrs. Crimelda Parkinson France is she said to me, we will not relent. And since the day she told me that word, every time I want to give up, I just hear her voice in my head that we will not relent. And she usually says to me, I am getting old. You will not relent because I'm expecting you to take over. So I'm like, oh my God, the expectation is too high. So, but that is what we need. That is what we need in partnership. That is what we need in mentorship. That is what we need in collaboration. I've known Sarah for so long. When we were nobody, as in healthcare, just band 5 nurses doing our thing. And look at us today. We still share the same passion. We're growing and growing, and we meet up and fight the battles together. The same with Charmaine. She was signposted to me, and since then, she's another big sister. We don't have to talk every day, but whenever I call on them for support, they are there, and they keep motivating me. They're like, push, well done, well done. I'm like, okay, I'll keep going. Because I always say to people, I am the driver, but a driver only enjoys their journey if they've got the right passengers in the car. And for me, I am blessed. I am grateful. I'm thankful to God. I have the right passengers. I have the right people around me. I have platforms, media people like Sierra Gem Media, who are always there whenever I'm ready. They take their time off and come and be support for me. Femi works full time. T-Boy works full time. They've got Juma who lives all the way in North America. They always make time for me, and I'm grateful. And actually, T-Boy thinks we've forgotten, but it's T-Boy's birthday today, guys, by the way. So let's wish him a very happy birthday. He doesn't like that, but we will. We wish you many, many, many more blessed years, T-Boy.
Many happy birthdays.
Happy birthday, T-Boy.
Yes.
Lord
Yes.
bless you, T-Boy.
Happy birthday,
with grace.
T-Boy.
Yes, he's just about turning 60 now, T-Boy. He's gonna answer me.
Welcome, T-Boy. You're as old as me now.
Yes, that's fake news, he would say. But yeah, I'm ever so grateful. I'm grateful to the viewers. Just in terms of the comments, people have been so thankful. They're finding it. Some are finding it emotional. Some are finding it very insightful, and some are just appreciating what they're hearing. And Samiela, you're saying you can't hear us. Are you still not hearing us? Please let us know. But I just want us to come to a close with, I'll go around the panel again, and just for Mrs. Pratt, really, I want you to name one challenge that you're going through in Sierra Leone, and what will be your wish in terms of closing the care gap. And then for the rest of the panelists, really, is what will be your take-home message for all our viewers, no matter where they are in the world, in terms of closing the care gap. So you'll be the first, Mrs. Pratt.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for such an interesting conversation today. For me, it's funding, because it hurts to see a service user come looking for funds to help them with their treatment, and there's no funding on the ground. Sometimes I call on you in desperation, as you know it. I mean, look at it. That's Margaret is enjoying that because somebody's helping her. So the bottom line, the most challenging is funding.
Okay, thank you. And that's what you think will help close the care gap?
Well, yes, because it will help save lives. It will give hope.
Yes.
Yeah. It will give hope. I mean, to say, because they will ask you, so how are you going to help me? And then it hurts. Sometimes you have to use personal money, as you know. And so it hurts when you don't even have it to say, okay, let me help. You see? So closing the care gap is to give hope for somebody to say, okay, well, yes, see doctor on Friday, and doctor says, okay, we can admit her and start her treatment journey. So it's all about funding.
Okay. So just a rough idea, Mrs. Pratt, I know this, but for our viewers, what is the average cost for someone to go through surgery in Sierra Leone?
Well, prices have gone up, for the new year. I mean, so for lumpectomy, the removal of the lump, and do the histology, biopsy, the lab test, I'd base it at 3 million, yes. And which is what that's like, let's say $150.
I think it's roughly about 150 pounds.
Yes, pounds. Yes, sorry. And then for the mastectomy, which of course is always so expensive because it's an ongoing thing. It's the removal of the breast. It's blood work. It's chemotherapy and all that. It's not easy to put a ceiling, but to kick it off, I'll say a 10 million at hand. It will help.
Which is about 600 pounds at the moment.
Pounds, yes.
Yeah. And when you think of the average income of a Sierra Leonean is the minimum wage is 500,000, which is
600,000. They say
600,000, which is less than a pound. right now.
Yes.
That's
Thank you.
that's the minimum wage,
Right.
and the average income is around 2 to 3 millions per month. That is
Yes.
someone who I would say have a good job. So that's roughly
A
again
good job.
about about 100 and 150 pounds. So if you've got a family of 4, and there's not every organization has privileges and luxuries like we have here, where you have full sick pay, depending on how long you've worked in your organization. Those kind of things are quite a luxury in Sierra Leone. And just to end that, Mrs. Pratt, how many people, what's the number of people you've got on your records right now? Waiting for treatment, waiting for funding.
Oh, waiting for treatment right now, we have 847. And you know what? I mean, it's sad because we're taking this now, let's say from October. We have passed the WHO standard of 60 days. So, and we all know cancer progresses. So that's the, yesterday at the event, I was still at least, because we saw success, we thank God for his mercies, we felt at least we'll be able to take care of even if it's 5 patients.
Yeah. So imagine, out of 800 patients, only 5 will benefit from what happened yesterday.
That's a drop in the bucket. It doesn't make sense.
That's the tip of the iceberg. So
there you go.
Those who are viewing, whenever you have a spare change or you're feeling generous, there's so many ways. If you can't reach Thinking Pink Breast Cancer Foundation directly, reach out to me. I will always signpost you. We're always looking for donors. We're always looking for sponsors and anything you can do. We've had people who would go and donate gloves. We have people who go and donate aprons, dry dressings. We have people who go and just donate, a meal for the day, because that's another thing, that's another thing. Some of these people, they can just about scrape to pay for their treatment, but then they don't have the nutritional support.
This is it.
So it's really, really heartrending. It's really, really, really heartrending. It's unbelievable. So thank you so much, Mrs. Parkinson Pratt. I really, really appreciate you. I know you're probably tired. You had a very busy, hectic week, and yesterday was the icing of the cake. But I'm glad the event was such a success. And our young Margaret's son, who accompanied her yesterday, took lots of pictures, so I'll share them with you. And again, we're just helping and supporting whichever way we can. So thank you so much. We really appreciate you. So I'll move on to Sarah. Sarah, what would be your take-home message?
I think my take-home message is really continue to do what we're doing in terms of being a voice. I think the main thing is that we have a voice, and we need to use that voice. And whether we use that voice from the diaspora or whether we use that voice back home, we have a voice, and we need to encourage that. And also, really, as I put in the chat for us, we need role models like Sarah Winston, role models like Margaret, role models that are here to tell their story, and for somebody to look at and say, oh, look, she's okay, she's doing good, I can get through this, I can leave, essentially is what we need to keep on encouraging and carrying forward. And yeah, hope for the best. We have to live in hope.
Okay, thank you. We have to live in hope indeed. Charmaine, what would you say, sister?
Well, I'm going to have my early detection is key. Talk about it. So I also did a campaign with NHS England about families talking about cancer. Don't keep it under the bush. Talk about it. Let people know it has happened. I've been doing cancer. I'm nursing for 40 years, and in my family, people are going, "Oh, just a little something wrong with the throat. It's cancer. Just let us know." And the family history. The youngest person I've seen is 16, and I saw that when I was at the Marsden. But she was a white Italian child. The rest of the family, large Italian family, never had cancer. And when she was 18, she wanted to go skiing, and her mum said she couldn't go. And she goes, "Mum, I've had cancer. I can do anything I like now." But I think we need to talk. And these shows are expressing what the reality is. Margaret, so honest. Thank you so much. Brilliant. And when I do talks to professionals, I always have a patient, because like you said, who feels it knows it. And I've never had breast cancer. So I always bring a patient along and they tell their stories. And like you said, it's kindness. So talk about it and be kind is my takeaway.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Ahmed, are you with us? If you are, what's your own take-home message? He's multitasking. He's probably not with us, but we'll come back to him if he comes back on. Margaret, do you have any take-home message for our viewers? We can't hear you. I know your network was playing up. Go off mute again. Say something. No, we can't hear you. Maybe you need to log off and log on again. Log off and log in again. I think Winston has already told us his take-home message, but I think it's very important. Today is all about giving hope. Today is about sharing information and knowledge. Today is about we're hoping that we've empowered at least one person. We're hoping that our survivors, who, as they've clearly said, he who knows it feels it. They've shared their story. You've heard from them firsthand. We're hoping that that will put some thoughts into perspective, but most importantly, give you hope that cancer is not a death sentence. And as long as you're able to have treatment, there is hope. And like we've all agreed, one of the first things I learned when I was at the Marsden, when I was doing my higher diploma in cancer care, is listening to patients. You know, patients are always considered expert by experience. So the patients, nobody knows them better than themselves. So this is for our healthcare professionals back in Africa. Try and respect your patients more, and try and listen to them more, and try and work with them in partnership, because they know their body. They are the ones who are going through whatever treatment they are going through. They're going through the journey. It is a journey indeed. And you are there to ensure that that journey, the outcome of that journey is positive. And so that is really what I want to say. And to families and friends as well, be there. Just be there. Just be supportive. I've asked Margaret to share with me her top 10 tips of cancer etiquette. I will share that with everyone. We'll share it because I think it's very, very important for people to think about that, because sometimes people are lost. I've had family members who've contacted me and say, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And sometimes you don't have to say anything. Sometimes it's just calling that person and saying, oh, I'm in the supermarket. What would you need? Should I get you some fruits or X, Y, and Z? Or sometimes you don't even need to ask them, because some people are so shy. They would say, no, thank you very much. I don't need anything. But one thing I always say that nobody will ever say no to is water, especially in the UK. For some of us, like I go to Costco a lot. If you go to somewhere like Costco and buy a case of water, which has 40 in it, or even in the supermarket, you buy a case of water. Water is something that we use on a regular basis, every day, every time.
Nice.
So people will never say no to that. And I believe that goes for Sierra Leone as well. Fruits and veg, those are things people always need. you know, non-perishable items like rice or whatever it is in terms of your staple food. Sometimes you don't need to ask people. You just get these things and say, here, I got this for you. If you're someone who finds it difficult to express yourself verbally, sometimes your action speaks better. So, but there's so many ways. When I used to be in the field a lot, as in actively working as a nurse specialist, some of my patients, friends, neighbors will say, what can we do? I usually, some of them I'll say, just come and offer to water the plants in the garden, you know, and or just come and help put the washing in the washing machine, or take it out, or come and help sit with them and fold the clothes together. Then a conversation might be born that way. And then you start talking. And then, as Margaret said, that person, allow them to lead the conversation. And you'll be amazed what people can tell you when you allow them to lead the conversation. And that is what has happened between Margaret and myself. So it's interesting and very, very intriguing to read her etiquettes, because that was one of the things I gave her. I allowed her. And within a short period of time, she has shared so much with me that she didn't really have to share with me. But I guess she felt listened to. She felt compassion. She felt kindness. I did not just assume because I'm helping fund her treatment. That did not give me the right to be intrusive. That didn't give me the right to direct her. You know, when she calls, when she messages me, I'm feeling this way, I would say, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? This is what somebody else tried. It works for them. Try it and see if it works for you. And then I'll follow it up with a check-in. How are you doing? How was your night? How did you get on? And so on and so forth, you know. And just being there. Just being there makes a lot of difference. When someone is going through cancer, it's the time for family to be together. It is very challenging and it comes with a lot of emotions, but it is time for families to be together as best as they can and support one another as much as they can and reach out to their networks to provide that support within their union, to support them whichever way it is, because it is a very, very tough journey. It is a journey wherein you need as much support as you can. So I just want to take this opportunity to thank everyone. I don't know if my producers, they usually like to comment. Femi, I know you've unmuted yourself. You're one of you're passionate about cancer anyway, and that's something you express all the time. And this year, what we're planning on doing this October, we actually want to do a breast cancer walk. But it's the men that are going to wear the pink bras. That's what we're trying to do. Yes, that's what we're trying to do. So watch this space. So we will soon start working on that, isn't it, Mr. Palmer? Over to you, Mr. Palmer.
Hi, Esther. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I'd like to say, well done to you and the panel. You guys have been amazing. It's been great listening. And as a man, there is a lot of things that were said that I think we men should learn, especially, should I say men of color living in the UK and possibly men in Africa as well. Sierra Leone and all across Africa. I have a friend who is a cancer sufferer, and she had her womb taken away because of cancer, and she was married, and her husband left her, and just she told me the story a few years back, and it was hard to hear. And I can say I can't put myself in her shoes. I can't put myself in her husband's shoes. But I believe that on both sides, it would have been a lot of trauma because they didn't have any children. So I am assuming that the husband at the time wanted a child, and obviously his wife couldn't, so that would have been possibly a strain to their relationship. But when she said it to me, and she said, but Femi, don't cry for me, because it's what God wanted. Most probably he wasn't the right person for me, and although I spent years with him, but now I can actually move on and find somebody who's going to love me for me and for all what I'm going through. So for us men, there's many lessons to learn. We need to listen, and listen attentively, because it's easy to just hear what people say rather than to actually listen to them. So today I have done a lot of listening, and I hope I learn a lot, and I hope that what we're doing will spread the word to many of us out there, especially us Africans who are, we always find a reason for things to happen to us instead of actually going to seek medical intervention. But yeah, thank you. All I can say is thank you. And yes, T-Boy's birthday is today. He's escaping. He refused to come on camera. I've called him, I've nudged him, but he refuses to come. But as you said, Isata, T-Boy and Juma will be leading the parade that we are trying to organize. That I think it was going to be a walk from Elephant to Castle to somewhere, and we're going to try and get thousands of people marching and raising money for to help certain people. We come from a country which is very impoverished, as you said, where the lifestyle, what we take home, our take home pay is literally next to nothing, and then that means we can't afford general food, let alone be able to take care of our loved ones or ourselves when we're in need. So we hope that we can meet the charitable people of this world and ask them to lend a hand. Sierra Leone has always been a country where people have contributed to and lent money to, and given money to, and we understand that some people are getting tired of Sierra Leoneans begging for money. But as humanitarians, it's hard to watch certain people that don't have it. I go back home regularly, and I see men that I went to school with who don't look like I do. They look twice as old as I do, and that's some of the strains that they're going through. I'm not wealthy. I can't afford to give. But, many a times, and I'm sure I'm not the only one on this platform, we get a call from back home, and it's usually somebody that we don't even know. Mother, auntie, uncle will call, father will call and say, Uncle so and so's cousin's wife, sister's brother is ill and in hospital. And you're scratching your head trying to think, who that person is. But, we have to send. In the country that we live in, the UK, we have the, the great NHS that looks after us when we're ill. And that's literally we don't pay for anything apart from maybe prescriptions, and that's depending on your status. We also, if you can't work, there is a state service that will provide housing benefits, council tax benefits for people. In the countries that we come from, none of this exists. And we in the diaspora have to be praised at times because we are the NHSs of our countries. We are the social services of our countries. So we know it's hard when we keep asking you guys for help, but look at what ISTA did with World 2. We started that campaign here and we raised thousands of pounds, and those thousands of pounds, now there's a lot of people benefiting from that. Kumelda has just, Mrs. Pratt has just indicated the levels of people waiting for treatment, at her foundation. And she's just said to us how many people she can afford to, or her organization can afford to treat, which is 5 out of 800 and something. So guys and girls, if we can, that cup of coffee that we save, that we buy every week, if one of those sacrifices, we make it one coffee a week, and we send towards organizations like this, it will go a long way. That's all I got to say today. Again, thank you for all what you're doing. And I want to thank all of our guests. Some of you I know, some of you are meeting for the first time. But, I'd like to, from Sierra Gem Media, say a big, massive thank you.
Thank you so much. And some of them you'll meet again on March 11th at the Learn and Dine event, which will be taking place in London, St. Mary's Great Hall, which is in Camberwell, Southeast London. And that will be 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock on time. My events, I like them to be on time because we've got a lot to learn. And there's some people who are saying, what do you mean by learn and dine? Well, whilst you're dining, you're learning. We feed you food. At the same time, we're feeding you information, not just food that you internalize through your digestive system, but food that you internalize through your brain as well. So it's going to be a program quite full of, education. Again, lots of experiences. It's going to cut across the board. It's not just going to be about cancer. It's going to be about health and well-being. It's going to be about social injustice. One of our learned colleagues, who is now a doctor because he just finished his PhD, Dr. Victor Abu, our prostate cancer guru, he was unable to join us today because he's in transit, and I think he just couldn't make it. But his PhD was done on social injustice and inequalities in health. So he'll come and share some of his the outcome of his research with us that day. We will talk about people putting their house in order, which basically we're talking about the importance of having life insurance, the importance of having critical illness insurance, the importance of having a will, the importance of having people sharing your information so that people know what is happening in your life. I spent some time with a funeral director, and he was telling me that people take the deceased phone back to the funeral directors to get the fingerprint of the dead because they cannot access the phone, and nobody knows how to access the phone because people have become exceptionally private that they don't trust anyone to share personal information to. So all those things we'll be talking about, and just kind of raising and trying to break some of these taboos that if you talk about cancer, you also get cancer. I've literally worked in cancer care for the last 20 plus years. Charmaine has just told us she's worked in cancer for the last 30 odd years. Sarah as well for the last 20 odd years. But we're still here, thank God. We've not had cancer. And even if we did, is it because we talk about cancer? No. It's just because, like Sarah said, humans are like vehicles. When we're born, we are as new as a new vehicle. As the years go by, it becomes older and wrecked, and every so often it needs to be checked and be fixed or be serviced. And that's what humans are like. So I want to thank all our viewers, our panelists here today. As usual, and as always, it's been a very, very interesting and informative program. Lots of positive comments from the viewers. And I'm sure over the next few weeks, there's going to be more views and more views. And I usually get people commenting and sending me comments and so on. So thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Have a blessed, blessed, blessed week ahead of you. And I hope to see you all soon in just over a month, March 11, Saturday at St. Mary's Great Hall. And for those of you who are in Sierra Leone, we will find ways to digitally connect with you so that you feel part of it, because partnership and collaboration is the way forward in the fight against cancer. So thank you, and God bless you all, and I appreciate you all. And if we can just give a big shout out once more to our very seem-to-be shy producer, T-Boy Sylvester Tambaduba. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, happy birthday,
Happy
happy birthday,
birthday,
dear.
happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday to you.
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday to
Oh, he's finally
Happy
decided to
birthday.
show his face. Happy
Happy birthday.
Happy
Oh, thank
birthday.
you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Happy birthday.
We
happy
appreciate you.
birthday.
Oh, he's Asian with grace. Well done, T-Boy. Well done. Thank you so much, ladies and gents. Have a good week. I love you all.
Thank you.
And stay
Love
blessed.
you too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Sure. Bye.
You know, barbershop is where most people talk about things, about life.
You're more likely to speak about topics that are difficult a lot more freely.
Besides making friends, you start talking and then you just find out that, oh, what? I'm not alone.
The way I see it is our barber is like our therapy session where we talk about our problem and he helps us and we feel better at the end.
When you're talking about a subject like cancer, it's not an embarrassment, you know, it's not a taboo subject.
People hear that somebody had been suffering from cancer only when the person has died, so they don't know that they are survivors. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2011, had the operation in 2012, and I'm living well since then. Symptoms that I had that worried me, and I decided I have to be checked out was first, I was having the feeling to pass urine very often, especially at night, and it was painful. Fortunately, since it was detected early, it was found out that it was localized, meaning that it was only in the prostate and has not spread. It is most likely for black men 45 years of age and above to have prostate cancer. There are some people who don't have these symptoms but yet could have prostate cancer. So the key to my success was the early detection.
Prostate cancer, particularly in black men, it's a big issue. If you are scared or embarrassed to check your body out, don't be embarrassed. It's your body, it's your life. You own it. You need to make sure you do what's best for you.
For me, when my dad gets checked out for prostate cancer, it really does give me peace of mind. Just as women have to undergo screening for, like for example, mammograms or cervical cancer, that we take our part to take care of our bodies, just kind of encouraging that men should also take their part and take care of their bodies too.
Anne-Marie said to me, Dad, are you aware there's a profile study? It's a study finding out the incidence of prostate cancer amongst black and Caribbean men. Some people just need the encouragement, maybe a little gentle push to, go out and, look after yourself.
So the reason why I decided to be part of a profile study is my dad passed away from prostate cancer 6 years ago. The way I see it is I help, the black community. I raise awareness about it because I think the more you talk about it, the better it is. When you decided to go ahead with a profile study, it's a very simple process. You have a fun conversation with the staff to understand the goal, the objective, and the time that you give is like maybe 2 hours. When you go there, you do the analysis, and then you get the results, and full stop. That's so simple.
In my family, I have a history of cancer, but more importantly, I've got young kids, and I want to obviously see them, grow up, and I also want to be able to make a difference by having myself checked out. Could potentially save my life down the line. So for me, really a no-brainer. Over the last sort of few years, I've been going through various sort of blood tests to check my PSA levels, and thankfully everything is fine. And it's an ongoing situation right now, and I'm very happy and proud to be part of this study.
Be tested and investigated. Early detection is the key.
If you're a black man over the age of 45, you could consider discussing your risk of prostate cancer with your GP, even if you don't have any symptoms. The profile study carries out prostate cancer screening tests on black men of African or Caribbean descent. It also looks at their genetics to see if this information can help identify those at higher risk. If you are interested, please email or call the Profile Study team to see if you are able to take part.
You can survive cancer. I have survived cancer.